Yo, what is up? Let's go. Oh, shit. Let's go. It's the first ceremonial first YouTube stream. Let's go. Dude, is anybody chatting? I'm not seeing anybody chatting, so I don't know if my chat is like working or not working. Do I have to reset it after we start? Oh yeah, I do have to reset it after I start. Well, let's go. All right, hold on. Let me pop this thing out. Cause I was like, dude, I wasn't seeing any chats. Like after I start, I guess I have to pop that shit out. All right, dude, let's go. We have a little intro music. Dude, let's go, baby. We're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it well. All right, let's see. Let's see. Here we go. There we go. There we go. I got a little, there it is. Oh shit. The ceremonial first YouTube stream. Yeah, no, that room is good. Sorry that I couldn't see the chat. I realize now that I could see the chat before I started, but once I start, you have to reset the chat. So here we are. Dude, how we doing tonight? You wonder how many people are going by a different name? There are definitely some people that are going by a different name. There it is. Yeah, much love to you too. Let's go. All right, all right. Dude, this is different. So one of the things that for those of you who are YouTube viewers who have not been Twitch viewers, I used to play quite a bit of music on the other stream that I can't because of the way YouTube is set up, but I'll be putting together a playlist of some stuff from Epidemic Sound. And I was a musician. Now, unfortunately, I have a company that handles the copyright of all my songs on YouTube and Apple Music and stuff like that. So I'm going to work it out to where I'm going to be able to play my own music. All right. Should be great. Dude, let's go. Dude, thank you. Thank you, Eugene. Appreciate you. Tokugawa, baby. Let's go. Dude, that's 25 bones already tonight. Thank you, man. You like the videos? Oh, you like Janky? Oh, where's my neck? Right? Dude, we like him too. Dude, I think I like Janky. I like Janky better than I like Cenk. Let's be real here, bro. You give me Cenk versus Janky, and it's like Janky all day, bro. Janky all day. Yeah, so the shaky Gurga and stuff. Thank you, Social Butterfly. The shaky Gurga and stuff isn't gonna work. Do those emotes work? Do the 7TTV or any of that better TTV? Can they work? Let's go. They don't work on YouTube at all, right? We don't really, there's not really emotes on YouTube, is there? Hold on. Yeah, no, I know. So I've got a rock star here that I got to go open with a screwdriver. So hang tight, all right? Hang tight. Are there VIP badges here? I don't know. I think there's some kind of badges, but I will figure it out. Hang tight. I'm gonna go grab a screwdriver so I can have a little rock star. I'll be back in 1 sec, all right? I'll play another lovely tune from, let me play you another lovely instrumental tune from, oh no, you know what? I can actually play you a song. I can play you. Huh. Yeah, I'm gonna play you a lovely Epidemic Sound tune while I go. There we go. There you go. Enjoy this lovely upbeat tune. I'll be right back. Yo, yo. Let's go. Let's go. All right. All right. We're back. That was interesting. Dude, I'm already like, I'm like getting an error. Getting an error like trying to have the chat, the pop out chat. That's weird. All right. All right. We'll figure it out. There we go. All right. All right. Computer says no. Yeah. You should become a contributor with the Midas Touch Network. That would be great. No, so what it did was the stream is fine, but when I played that music and I left, it gave me an error that Chrome was like out of memory or some shit. And so a couple of my windows required to be reloaded. Dude, nothing tastes better. Let me just tell you, nothing tastes better than a rock star that has been opened with a screwdriver. All right, you haven't lived. All right, let's get a little. Let's go. So I wonder how much the stream delay is on this. That's what I wonder. Dude, hope that tetanus shot is up to date. It is. It is. I got all my vaccines, right? I got all my RFK Juniors. I'm ready to roll. So what do we think? What is the, I'm trying to gauge the stream delay here. Is usually worse delay than Twitch. All right, so it's a couple seconds behind. Right now I'm on low latency. I might try ultra low latency tomorrow, see if we can get it going. Good vodka bottle open with the 9-iron. Did someone say 9-iron? Oh, oh, oh. Let's go. Yeah, you ready? Yeah. Yeah, do that. Type 1 when I say 1. You ready? Here we go. 1. All right. That's not bad. All right, 2. Okay, so it seems like it's about 7 seconds. All right, that's not bad. Let's go. All right, I can deal with that. And that's on the low latency. Maybe tomorrow we'll try the ultra latency, ultra low, and see if we can get that like pretty close to real time. Because they do have a like a near real time, right? F. Let's go. Oh, shit. All right. Well, what are we doing, guys? Dude, do we have Cenk and 2 podcast bros? All right. Let's go. All right. Let's go. That's good to know. Good to know. Welcome. The chat says, welcome, MFers. Oh. Yeah. Dude, what do we got for like emotes and shit? Oh, here we go. There it is. Oh, that's interesting. Dude, how are you? Dude, dude, Aaron, let's go. Thank you so much. How is Steve doing the emotes? Oh, I have a couple emotes. Oh, yeah, dude. And we can have, dude, I can set up the emotes too. All right. Dude, this is good. I'm excited about this. Oh, this guy is like my spirit being from another realm right there. Oh, dude, that little red dude. Who is that guy? That guy's amazing. Oh, you can add BTTV? Oh, nice. All right. I'm going to do that. I'm going to add BTTV too. So we'll get those rolling. I'll get that done tomorrow. All right. I'm so excited. Here we are, guys. We're in it. All right. So those of you who, if you haven't seen the video yet, I did make a video about the Twitch ban. And it was really, yesterday was a weird deal because obviously waking up to that ban, it was really unexpected, right? I haven't like changed the way I stream on Twitch for over, for a year. I've been doing like the same thing. And I literally put that content every day on YouTube, like verbatim. I don't like take out any of the shit that I talk about. And the fact that it was getting, the fact that there was a ban for what kind of amounts to nonsense was pretty wild. I was not down with it. But what really hit me about it though, guys, is I got this little feeling in my stomach because I have been on the outs with Twitch for a couple of years. It's been about 2 years, maybe 2.5 years, as you'll see if you watch that video, where I've just had a lot of repeated instances with their lack of transparency and some issues with them. So, man, it's really good to be here. And you know what I'm saying? Dude, Funtucky, let's go, baby. Oh my God, Andrew, let's go. Appreciate you guys. Oh, let's get the like on that. Let's go. You can heart it. Oh shit. Dude, all right. I'm getting in there. Thank you guys. Dude, I like to do a little something when you guys throw that. You ready? Here's what we do. Tingle bitty. Make it rain, baby. Oh, Chinky. Let's go. Yeah, we got to make that. We got to make it rain, boss. Dude, Morgan, let's go. Thank you, Morgan. Appreciate that. How come it's not letting me like Morgan's? Right? Dude, let's go. Yeah, that's weird. How come Citizen Morgan's I can't like it? Dude, I love the little dinosaur. Oh, it's a super sticker. Okay. Got you. Got it. It's a super sticker, so that's the one that gives you the little animated thing on it. It is gonna be a cool night. Am I live on Facebook? I don't think I'm live on Facebook. I don't really have a Facebook page. But let's go. Dude, Jazzy! Oh, let's go! We love to see it. Thank you. Oh, man. Dude, Kim, let's go. Oh, my God, I'm seeing some familiar names, too. Kim, we love to see it. I've seen a lot of... many of you, I feel like I've interacted in the comments before. So that's pretty cool. It's like really weird. It's a new experience seeing people that I've interacted with in the comments now in the chat. You know what I'm saying? That's actually really cool. I do want to pull that down like that, though. There we go. Dude, oh, my chat is... You love me? Oh, thank you. I love you guys too. Ian Decay, did we play in BC, in Vancouver? I never played in Vancouver, right? Yeah, Odrak, you're not wrong. I am like fundamentally against depression too. And it's really interesting too, because I've had a situation, right, in my life. I will need mods. Absolutely. Let me guys, if you want to be a mod, here's what I want to do is I'm gonna put my Discord in I'm gonna put my Discord in the chat. Okay? And so here's my Discord. You should join the Discord and say that you want mod, and we can talk about it in there. You fill an app for a mod? Dude, yeah, just ping me in Discord. Go into the general chat of the Discord and ping me. And yes, I've been talking about making the jump. I've been wanting to make the jump to YouTube. Like I said, I've had about 2 years of like, dude, not being a huge fan of you know what was going on at Twitch, right? I mean, Twitch was just really, let me just tell you, and I mean, whatever, but they treat you very different. They treat you very, very different when you're not big, right? They do, you know, and it's weird because obviously I've never been big on YouTube, but like YouTube's always been real sort of direct with me. And I feel like Twitch is a little shifty. You would like to mod and help out with the live? All right. So who pinged in? Okay, so Eugene, dude, T. Lee, let's go. Thank you so much. I'm glad you like the videos. Let's go. All right. All right. Thank you. That means a lot. So yeah, you are Eugene. All right. So let me see here how to add as moderator. All right. All right. There we go. All right. We got our first mod. Set up a Cash App or others. I do have that stuff too. You're not responsible enough to be a mod. Eugene will be a good mod. You're killing me. I swear to God, we played in the same show. Well, so Ian, when are you talking? Give me a time frame for the show that you were in Blood Wolf, right? You pinged me. That's you, VJ Kodak. Okay. So are you... All right. Jenny, yeah, Jenny has decent qualifications for mod. All right, I'm going to add Jenny. There we go. All right, let's go. So VJ Kodak, are you new? Excuse me. I have a little cough post-COVID. Do we know you from so I see you now in the chit chat. Are you brand new? Tell me a little bit about yourself. So it's 20 years. So Ian, if it may have, so I was a one-man indie rock band called The Wanteds. Dude, T-Mac! And I never played in Vancouver, BC, but I did play in Bellingham, and I played I played everywhere in America, pretty much, like 48 of the states. But the areas near BC that I played was like Spokane, Seattle, and Bellingham. And I did those a lot. Rochester? No, I never played in Rochester. I played in New York City, a little town called Port Jervis, New York. Right? Dude, Mitchie, let's go. Oh, man, dude. You guys are too much. Let's go, baby. All right. So again, guys, if you are interested in mod, there's the Discord. Go ahead and join the Discord and tell me a little bit about yourself, right? Because some of these guys I'm modding because I know them. They've been around the stream for a long time. And so what I'm going to do is when you say you want to be a mod, I am going to, if I don't know you, I'm going to add you as a friend. And then you can send me a DM on Discord and say, you know what I'm saying? You can tell me a little bit about yourself. All right. Have you been a YouTube follower? Did you watch me on Twitch? Do you have a Twitch account, etc.? You're quite active on YouTube. Nice. Let's go. All right. Yeah, no, we're going to add a bunch of you. Dude, we're killing it. All right. All right. I could get used to this, man. Been in IT for 25 years. You don't like Discord? No, I get it. I get it. Dude, I did play at CBGB. Yeah. Dude, I had a great show, actually, at CBGB's. That was one of my, I was glad I got to play there before it disappeared. But I had a really good show there. It was like a shredder, right? And then there was a place that those of you who are from New York City, I used to play, my favorite place to play in the early 2000s, like 2004, 2005, was a little place in the village, kind of in the village called the Lit Lounge, okay? And I don't know if you guys ever heard of it, but the Lit Lounge was like, I don't know, I think it was on 7th or something. Let me see. It was so cool. It was It was 2nd Avenue, 93 2nd Avenue, right? And dude, so what it was is it was amazing, bro. It was like a bar upstairs, and then downstairs was where the music venue was. In the basement, they had couches down there, and it was all like red lights, and they sort of eschewed the smoking ban, so everybody down there was smoking cigarettes and stuff. But it was amazing. Oh my God, it was so good. It was like my favorite spot to play. Yeah, it was early 2000s, right? Early 2000s. And then the other thing that I was telling guys here on Twitch the other night was the first time I went to New York was 2003. And it was during the blackout, right? I got there during the blackout. I like checked into the Chelsea Hotel with a candle. Oh shit, Morgan. Thank you for that Cyberpunk membership. Let's go. We love to see it. And then I ended up seeing TV on the radio at this little club in Brooklyn called Lux. Like totally random, right as they signed a Touch and Go, right before they started to blow up. It was amazing. Yeah, if you want to check the music out, here, I'll put a link to it. You ready? Hold on. I got you. I'm going to put a link to the music. You want to check it out? Here we go. Oh, it's too long. I get it. All right. There we go. There's a link to it. It's called The Wanteds. There are links to Apple Music and Spotify. I had 2 records. Let Go Afterglow was a solo record, and Failure Looks So Good was a later record with a 3-piece band. Let's go. All right. So I am live on YouTube. Yes, this is brand new. I was banned on Twitch yesterday over some bullshit. If you guys would like to, if you have any interest in, excuse me, the video about, the ban, I did make a video. Dude, did you play at the same time as me? I don't know. You may have. Dude, Elijah, I'm doing real good. So, yeah. So, Al, I have a theory. I have a theory about Cenk and Anna. Okay? I really do. I have a theory about Cenk and Anna because, you ready for this? So, I think it's the bridge burning that preceded... I think it's the bridge burning that preceded the change, right? You know what I'm saying? Like Anna got all mad after she got challenged about the homeless people. Social butterfly, let's go. And then I feel like they started burning bridges. And it really was the bridge burning that sort of precipitated that weird right-wing turn. Because as they started alienating people, they started like gravitating, I think, towards the other side. You know what I'm saying? You know how you just sort of like gravitate towards the people that accept you? And I think Polymarket really screwed it up too. Let's be honest. Okay? What is the Haitian rumor? I don't even know what that is, but the Polymarket, I mean, that was a blow. Right? The Polymarket, it was an election year and they took money from the Peter Thiel Welcome to Polymarket Studios after all those people, all their viewers, like paid for that studio. Hold on, there we go. Gotta fix the chat. That shit is crazy. Yeah, it shit is nuts. Cenk thinks he's the gatekeeper. Yeah. Yeah, the trans stuff really kills me too. It does. It does. That stuff just absolutely just killed me. Like, there's a couple of things about them that kill me. And you know, I mean, I'm fine if you want to go on Charlie Kirk's show and you want to debate him, or you want to go on PBD, you want to go on Glenn Beck or Megyn Kelly or any of those people. If you want to go on there and like take it to them, I am totally fine with that. I am. But man, going on those shows and playing the whole, like, yeah, the Democrats are really so rude and mean, and you guys are the nice ones, and they're so lost, and you guys are right about everything. Like, dude, that shit's unforgivable. That shit is unforgivable. And I mean, I saw what Lauren said there. Were they always grifters? I feel like there was an element of grift, guys. Call me crazy, but think about this, okay? Cenk Uygur was a Republican, okay? He was an out-and-out Republican. Thank you, Taylor. He was. And he only switched off Republicanism because he was mad at George Bush, right? And then, you know, he blew up on Twitch, on YouTube. And of course, when you blow up on YouTube, you're going to sort of like stick with the audience you blow up with. But man, if you go back to early TYT, they were kind of like entertainment. They weren't even really politics, right? It was like celebrity camel toes and like weird, like not very funny attempts at comedy. Like their stuff was really more like a Cosmopolitan magazine or something. You know what I mean? In the early days, it was like Inside Edition or something. It wasn't actually like politics. It was more like one of those cheesy pop culture shock jockey news shows. And so I feel like they only really, you know, what I think sort of established them was some of their anti-Obama sentiment, right? Because of course we know, I don't care what they say, I'm telling you in my bones, I know that Cenk and Anna have some serious issues with people of color, okay? Let's be honest. You know, they do not like people of color, right? Yeah, dude, Dor and Ruben, I think are probably make the most sense out of that whole thing, right? Jimmy, all chat instead of top chat, is it not on all chat? Oh, I see. Oh, yeah. So live chat. Okay. Yeah, there we go. I didn't realize. Thank you. Thank you for that. See, that's the kind of shit I need to know. All right. There we go. Now everybody's in there. For those of you I missed, I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, so though, Kim, here's the thing. I have a theory about this, about those of you who feel scammed by TYT, because I've seen a lot of people talk about that. But you know what I want to say? I want to say this. I don't feel too scammed, okay? Because they got you somewhere, right? Even if they got you to a place of where you realize, holy shit, they're terrible, they did get you there. And let me give you a personal example, okay? When I first got sober, I was a big-time drug addict, alcoholic, rock and roll guy, okay? So I had some issues with drugs and you know, serial dating and whatnot. And I eventually got into therapy. And I actually got a therapist that, like, she wasn't very good. She was kind of controlling. She was kind of older and like a mother. And she put me on some medication that kind of like dulled me out. And she was concerned about my mania and all this. And what ended up happening was I saw her for like a year or two, and it helped me kind of get a toehold in sobriety. And then eventually, though, I walked in there with the medication and I threw it on her chair and I said, I'm done with this medication. I like my mania and you're fired. And I'm telling you, outgrowing that therapist and establishing a boundary where I'm like, you know what? I'm leaving you was like a turning point for me for my own realization of like, you know what? This person is like not who I thought they were. And they got me to the point of being able to say, you know, I'm done with you. And I think there's some value in that because for whatever reason back then, you really needed TYT, right? You needed them. You needed them to believe in. You needed them to sort of get your anchor. And now you like don't need them anymore, you know? And but I'm sure there was a time that like, you know, you got where you are now because of those guys, right? Because I think they did serve a purpose. I mean, look at this. Look at like Kyle Kowinski and Franny and Emma and Sam and all the people that like came out of there. Like so many great people came out of there, you know, Mondale, Pastor Ben, right? There's like so many like people that came through that channel. And now Anna and Cenk are like the InfoWars of the progressive movement. Now we get to make fun of them for like the next 10 years. Right? I mean, think about this. Think about how much. Dude, T-Mac, let's go, baby. You were a moderator before? Were you? What was your Twitch, boss? Let's go. You feel betrayed? Uh-oh. But you know what I'm saying? Like, they now we get to make fun of them for like the next, I swear to you, the next 10 years, bro. They're going to be just comedy, right? They're going to be our comedy. Let's go. Zion, Tony Michaels. No, Grumpy Cat. You saw me on Boston Brian, I think. I did go on Boston Brian at one point, and I think I recognize your name. You're a Boston Brian watcher, right? Let's go. Oh, shit. So, guys, just what's crazy about it is we already have more viewers than we would have on Twitch. Oh, no, I see what you're saying, T-Mac. Dude, thank you again for the 5 bones and for the 2 bones before. You were a moderate before TYT. I got you. Did TYT move you to the left? See, that's another thing, guys, right? I think the value of TYT is I think they actually helped solidify actual leftists. Morgan, let's go. Super sticker. I think they're helping to galvanize the left because you kind of like, you know, if you are at all connected to TYT, you sort of realize, oh my God, like I really want to be on the left. You know what I'm saying? Like they're like a conservative parent, right? Nothing creates a leftist like having annoying conservative parents, right? Dude, they're probably creating a lot of leftists. I'm telling you, I swear, I bet they're creating a lot of leftists. Yeah. I think TYT is hurting the left right now. I mean, I don't worry about them now, right? I think I worry about them more during the election. See, I think now's the time where we can fight, right? Fight. For this whole year, let's fight. Let's infight. Let's have our battles. Let's go to war with Hakeem Jeffries and the donors and Ken Martin and everybody. We can fight all of 2025. And then what I really would like to see, and I've said this before, I have a political philosophy that is hard where when there's no election, I am fine with fighting and debating and challenging each other and arguing over the direction of the party. And then you go into the primaries and you chase your passion, who you really want in there. And then my personal philosophy is this. My personal philosophy is the minute the primaries are over and the candidates are set in stone, we stop attacking our own candidates. At that point, I don't care if I like the presidential candidate or if I can't stand him. At that point, the minute the primary is over and the candidates are solid, I shift into nothing but support and pushing that person across the finish line to beat the Republicans. That's how I look at it. Okay? I don't like the whole, I'm going to, dude, dude, I'm having some issue with, right? With my thing, my memory, I keep running out of memory, guys. In Chrome. Like, why is that happening? So I think I know what I'm going to do. All right. I'm going to fix this. I'm going to put my chat on the second computer. So it's on I have an amazing PC though. It's Chrome. It's not my PC. It's like Chrome sucks, bro. Use Firefox. Is Firefox the man? Having chat open? Yeah, you know what I'm going to do though, guys? Is I'm going to put chat on my second PC and that way I can scroll it on my second PC. And then I won't even have to like deal with it. I have it spread across 2 monitors too. But Firefox sucks. Opera, probably more efficient. I may have to get more memory though. That is a possibility. I can also close some windows. I have a lot of windows open. I can close that window. There we go. I'm closing some windows. But yeah, see, I am a firm believer that once the primary is over and once we have our candidate, I don't attack them anymore. And I don't like it when people do that in the middle of the election when they're trying to like get their candidate to express certain beliefs or whatnot. I don't like that. Dude, you know what I'm saying? I feel like that to me is just hugely problematic. You know, it's like hugely problematic to do that to me during during the actual election, right? But that's just me. I know not everybody's that way, but I go into full support mode. Even when they do some shit that I don't like, I tend to be supportive. I mean, if it's something really crazy, I might voice up about it. But I don't do a lot of attacking. Now, we know that Cenk and Anna are going to like massively attack. We know that's gonna happen. And can you imagine if Gavin Newsom wins the Democratic primary? Like, how are they gonna survive, right? They won't be able to survive if Gavin Newsom wins that primary, right? I mean, I hope he doesn't because I don't love him, but he might, okay? He's definitely playing the game right with like the Fox lawsuit. I mean, let's look at that, shall we? But because I thought the Fox lawsuit is pretty funny. Oh, Lordy. I love that he's suing them too. And so, you know, like what, not only is he suing them, but I don't know if you saw this, but he's made a caveat. Okay. He made a caveat where he said that he'll drop the lawsuit if Fox prints a retraction and Jesse Waters publicly apologizes on his show. They want him to run a piece showing the actual video and admitting that they ran a BS thing. Dude, let's I think probably Midas Touch, I'm sure covers this, right? They have a bid on this? Yeah, here we go. Oh, Lordy.
A $787 million lawsuit has been filed against Fox by...
See, what's great is it's the same amount as the Dominion settlement. I mean, that is just... that is just too cool, guys. Right? You know what I'm saying? It is just too cool. Yeah, let's check this out.
A $787 million lawsuit has been filed against Fox by California Governor Gavin Newsom for defamation, misrepresenting the communications which took place between California Governor Gavin Newsom and Donald Trump. Governor Newsom was very clear about when a phone call took place when Donald Trump several days later lied and said, oh, there was a phone call that took place the day before when it didn't take place the day before. Let's bring in California Governor Gavin Newsom to talk about what happened and how Fox really being this propaganda arm for Donald Trump, editing and manipulating the videos and the content to give their viewers false information. This is one of the bases of your lawsuit. Talk about your lawsuit, Governor.
No, I appreciate it. I mean, I think you summed it up beautifully. I mean, they knowingly misrepresented the facts. They altered and edited statements of the President of the United States, videos, and they knowingly stated that I lied about a phone call with Donald Trump. Donald Trump, as we know, lied about a phone call he had with me the day before. That call, in fact, was almost 4 days prior. Trump himself went to John Roberts of Fox to show a screenshot of the call. That call was never in question. They went on then to alter the fact that the president said it was a call the day before.
I mean, you guys remember that, right? So Newsom and Trump had talked on like Friday night when all of this stuff erupted. Okay. Then on Monday or Tuesday, Trump is like, yeah, I spoke to him yesterday. And Gavin's like, no, you didn't, you know, and then Trump shows that little thing that showed that he called days before, right? And then, you know, Jesse Waters, though, I hope they're going to show the clip, but he aired a total misrepresentation. Like, that's just it, guys, with Fox News and all of these people. Okay, they put the information out there without it being verified at all. All of the right-wing influencers do that, especially like Charlie Kirk, DC Drano, Libs of TikTok, Laura Loomer, right? They put out these things that accuse the Democrats of high crimes and misdemeanors tweeted from some MAGA 6492648 account, right? It's just a constant barrage, you know?
And then it was weaponized further on the Jesse Waters show, who had a chyron saying Gavin lied about President Trump. And so, look, I can take it. These guys go after me 24/7. I'm a piñata and have been for years and years.
A piñata.
Never once did I think
dude.
I had to file a defamation lawsuit. But this crossed the line, the journalistic and ethical lines, the boundaries of defamation, malice, and they need to be held to account because it's one thing to cover up for lies of a president, but the impact of covering up for these lies is impacting our democracy, truth, and trust.
Governor, look, when it comes to, you know, when I speak to my wife, sometimes I'll say 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and it'll be 20 minutes. It won't be 5 minutes. That's relatively inconsequential, although she'll may view it differently. When we're talking about issues of war, when we're talking about issues of sending troops into a state in an unprecedented fashion.
Man.
Clarity and honesty, I think, matters the absolute most. So when a conversation took place, how long it took place. This is important because people can die. So you, as the governor of California, were very clear. You said it to us when you were talking about it. There was a phone call that took place. Here's how long it is.
See, I have a fundamental issue with the fact that Donald Trump has created this political world that he gets to exist in, and only him, where he can literally go out in front of the press and he can lie from start to finish. He'll lie about sex change operations and trade deals and China and wars and this, that, and the other. And then there's barely any pushback from any of the reporters. And he's literally just given a microphone to spout lies, nothing but lies for, 40 minutes straight. And so his entire presidency is just one long string of his make-believe shit. And then everybody else in politics is called out like on the slightest misstep. Oh my God, you said Thursday and not Tuesday. And then Trump is over here saying, dude, I just captured and discovered Jimmy Hoffa. And it's like, no, you didn't. He's like, yes, I did. Like fake news, right? And he just gets away with it, man. And so I feel like these little details really need to be drilled down. Like I want to see Trump, I want to see somebody interview him. And the first time he tells a lie, to just not advance the interview, to stay on that one lie, the entire interview. Where okay, we are going to stay on this question until you admit the truth, or this interview is just done, right? Or we'll just talk about this one lie that you keep telling. That's a lie, Mr. President. That is a lie, Mr. President. Tell the truth. I would love one interviewer, because they'd never get to interview him again. But if one interviewer could just do that and just sit him down and not let him off the lie, I wanted Joe Rogan to do it. Right? Joe Rogan had the perfect opportunity when he had Trump on and he was grilling Trump about lying about the 2020 election. And Trump was like, I have the proof, I have the papers. And Rogan was like, you have 100 million Twitter followers, right? Why didn't you just post it on Twitter? Since when do you have proof of something and you don't post it on Twitter? He could have cornered him right there if Joe Rogan wasn't such an intolerable, incredible cock. You know what I'm saying? Dude, if he was 5'8", bro, he would have done it, right? If he was 6 foot. Yeah, dude, Terry got fired, man, for that tweet. But we all know that Trump wanted to fire Terry long before, remember the MS-13 knuckles? When Terry's it wasn't on there. What are you talking about? That's Photoshop. He's like, no, I swear it was in Helvetica font. Dude, yeah, MS-13's getting Helvetica, tattooed on their knuckles. It's the real thing for all the gangbangers, right? They're big on that Helvetica font, right? That fucking, oh, Lord. Oh, man. Dude, it's just exhausting, really.
Trump then makes up a fake conversation. Fox tries to cover for him. And it's not funny. It could result in people dying, not getting accurate information. And that, to me, is what's so insidious about this.
No, I mean, well said. Look, Trump just had a press conference a moment ago lying about California and lying about water and lying about the fact that this big, beautiful bill is not going to hurt anybody. I mean, this is what this guy does. And in some ways, that's become so socialized. We kind of roll our eyes and we roll with it sometimes, but you don't cover that up. You don't double down on that lie. You don't knowingly cover up and defame the character of someone else, particularly as you suggest at this critical moment. This was this was back and forth. I just want to remind people, let's just contextualize this exact moment. There are close to 5,000 troops, federalized troops on the streets of Los Angeles right now for no apparent purpose or reason. thousands and thousands of them just sitting around.
And think about how much money we're burning through. Do you know how much money it costs to have 5,000 federal troops sitting around doing nothing? You know how much money we're burning through there? Like, dude, these are the people who keep crying about fiscal responsibility and, where we're getting the money? Oh, where's the money coming from? Right? Dude, they're just like burning money, burning it, burning that shit.
For pure theater over the objections of the governor. They've been taken off the beat as local law enforcement. They've been pulled off the border where I had directed them to address the issue of counter narcotics and fentanyl interdiction. They've been pulled out of the wildland urban interface, meaning the work that they were doing. Hundreds of these National Guardsmen were protecting us from this year's fire season. They've been pulled off for Trump's folly. In the middle of all this back and forth, it's right to have the question, when did you talk to the governor? What did you talk to him about? It was the basis of litigation between the state of California and the Trump administration and federal court at the time. Fox could have easily just dismissed yet another lie from the Trump administration.
Yes.
Rather, they decided to knowingly cover it up and lie about this conversation.
That's what they did. They took Trump's lie and they advanced it. And then they created a bit of content to support the lie. Bro, that is like so problematic, man.
And they did it in a way that not only directly impacts the notion of truth and trust, but I was starting to get calls from folks, supporters of mine, friends of mine saying, why are you, Gavin, lying about the call with Trump? They apparently have the receipts. There was no receipts. It was edited, redacted. They knowingly and maliciously defamed, and they should be held to a higher level of ethical and journalistic standards.
Talk to us, Governor, about the damages request here. I know there's some aspect of it that represents what Fox had settled for, in a prior case. And, I had read that in the event of a recovery, where it would go. Can you talk to that?
Yeah, not going to me. Look, you have to do defamation's a high bar. And look, as I said, anyone who's ever watched Fox News knows I'm one of their main targets. Never in the past, years and years and years of being on the receiving end of Fox and their propaganda, never have I been in this position where the red line was crossed. And so the defamation construct has to happen on an individual basis, and it's a very high bar. And so in this case, I've asked simply this: apologize, give as much airtime to the multiple segments you did lying about this call in suggesting that I lied about this entire issue.
Can you imagine if Jesse Waters had to do a segment saying, look, everybody, I lied about Gavin Newsom. Donald Trump was lying. The phone call, we misrepresented that. Oh my God. I swear, if Gavin Newsom puts that as part of the lawsuit, like he'll drop the lawsuit, if they do something, he should make sure he gets to write the copy. Oh, right? Oh, Lord. Oh, that would be amazing.
Give as much airtime as you did when you misrepresented those facts knowingly. If you don't, then you should be held to account, just as was the case with the defamation in the past. They've been subject to the Dominion case. We all recall the $787 million. You thought that would stop them from continuing these lies. They obviously haven't learned their lesson. And so in that case, those damages would go into a fund, not for me, but to advance truth and trust and ethics and to support causes that I think are universal in this country in protecting our democracy. So
you see that too, if they don't settle the lawsuit and it goes to judgment, he's going to take that money and put it into causes to, fight for truth and, various anti-Trump causes. I think it's such a great, I want to see the discovery. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. That was the one thing that bummed me out about the Dominion lawsuit and it getting settled is I wanted the discovery. I wanted to see what these news editors and news personalities were commenting behind the scenes as they were knowingly spreading false information. I mean, that would be some juicy online content.
That's the idea. Simple apology, do the right thing. And by the way, of course, what do we get today? We got almost a verbatim, plus or minus an adjective, an adverb here and there, the same statement they said when Dominion filed their lawsuit. They've learned absolutely nothing.
Well, when Dominion filed the lawsuit, that was a big lie that Trump and his followers were talking about January 6th. And now every day there are big lies and bigger lies that the Trump regime continues to push. And one of the things that you said is when you had that call with Donald Trump, and you've seen him, and I know you have a great deal of respect for the office of the presidency. So you've been hesitant to, I think, let the public know how alarming his cognitive state is on these discussions. And so I know it's difficult for you to lean into that because of your view of the presidency. But you said that if people knew what Trump said and how he behaved on these calls, it would send shivers up your spine.
Yeah, dude. Can you imagine what I mean, we see Trump now where he's at a big press conference and he's like, I'm reading the statement that's written for me. This statement is so uninteresting. I can barely speak. My name is Donald. Right? He is like shot. And then he goes off script and starts rambling about whatever, talking to the bushes, somebody up in the cloud sent him, you know what I'm saying? Sent him some personal information, right? His spirit counselor has told him that he is in fact Jesus, right? Or whatever is going on in his brain fried existence. But can you imagine what he's like when he's just on a free for all, on a call without being concerned, without a script, without being concerned of what people are talking about? I bet he's like on like ConstaWeave, right? You know what I mean? Like, right? I bet he's just a total douche, uncensored, right?
Is there any additional information you can provide about that? Because when we see him every day, it sends shivers up my spine when he makes up fake conversations with world leaders that aren't happening. And we're talking about life and death and matters of war and peace.
Let's go, Elf.
Life and death, matters of war and peace, and just the foundational tenets of what holds democracies like ours together. Again, truth and trust. I continue to go back to those two foundational words. Look, what was so alarming is not only his total stone cold misrepresentation, this in the case, Trump's stone cold misrepresentation of what he discussed and the facts that he didn't discuss what he said he discussed. It's what he wanted to discuss that is so alarming. At a time, at such a...
Dude, he's probably talking about the hub, right? Or he's probably talking about like, you got any cute assistants? Hey, how old's your assistant? Like, yo, Trump, what's going on? He's like, oh, I really love that Emma Stone. Right? Dude, Trump is just fucking moronic.
Moral moment. When he's federalizing or about to federalize, in this case, that phone call happened a number of hours before he federalized the National Guard. Over the objections of the governor, he didn't want to talk about that. He didn't even want to engage in the conversation around LA. And what was so chilling is over a 16-minute period, what he did want to discuss, the president of the United States, what he actually wanted to discuss. And in that context, it may become public. And let me tell you why. Because the House Oversight Committee is now requested, unsurprisingly, all of our information, all of our correspondence. That's fair game. The correspondence directly with the chief of staff, fair game. And I made it clear to the chief of staff, I made it clear to the White House that we will cooperate with federal oversight. And that will include my contemporaneous notes that I took, unsurprisingly, with the President of the United States that night. And to the extent appropriate, that information will be shared in that forum.
Before we go, what do you want the American people to know right now? I think they were very comforted by your address to the state and address to the nation. I think they like to see finally we have Democrats going on the offense and pushing back. There's this disastrous budget bill working its way through Congress that I don't want people to get, forget about it, because people aren't forgetting about it. But I want to always, people are scared right now and they're looking for fighters. So what do you want to say to the American people right now?
By the way, I'm about to have a press conference. 3.5 million people going to lose their health care in California. 3.5 million.
Jesus.
In the state of California. The President of the United States had a press conference.
Dude, this bill is such BS, dude. The big, beautiful. So many, it's like a massive transfer of wealth to the upper class. And so much of their stuff is complete BS, right? Like the tax on tips is a temporary thing. It's only cash tips. It doesn't affect credit card tips, which are like 90% of your tips. It's like everything in it is just some sort of digestible talking point, but the substance of the talking point is, based on a complete misrepresentation or lie, In the Oval Office, or at least in the White House briefing room, where he said no one is going to be directly impacted and hurt by those cuts. What nonsense. And so we're going to lay that out BS. In detail. So I appreciate you highlighting one of the most extraordinary and most impactful and devastating bills of our lifetime, the most significant rollback of healthcare in American history that's about to occur as early as this weekend in the United States Senate. But what I want people to know is, gloves are off. Let's go. Enough. We're going to stand up. Truth. We're going to stand up for American people. We're going to stand up for people that are being bullied. We're going to have the backs of people that are scared. We're going to use our formal authority. I'm proud to be governor of the largest state in America. Again, I've said this before to you, 21 state populations combined. But we're also going to use our moral authority. And the extent we need to, we're also going to call out the bullshit and the propaganda and the weaponization of lies and mis and disinformation on networks like Fox. And we'll do it in every capacity. On behalf of the people I represent in the state, on an individual capacity, enough. It's time to assert ourselves much more forcefully, with character and conviction, and have the backs of people that don't have the voice that some of us have and the ability to do what some of us can do. And that's what this whole case is about. And we'll continue to stand tall, and we'll continue to power through this remarkable moment in history.
California Governor Gavin Newsom, thanks for joining us.
See, dudes, I am flummoxed by Gavin Newsom. I am. It is like my relationship to the politician Gavin Newsom is like, it's super complicated, and I have not yet completely squared it. Okay? Because for one, I used to love him. Okay? And now why did I love him? Because he was a Republican ass kicker. Okay? Right? Like the debate with Ron DeSantis, Gavin would go in there and just fuck them up. And I loved that. I loved that about him, like no holds barred, because Gavin has the willpower, the smarts, the sharpness in those types of face-to-face situations, or talking to a reporter where he's unflappable and he's able to sort of wriggle out of shit and send it right back at the other person. All of those qualities are really good in that sort of content making, like slamming them. But it's like, it's hard because I've watched him sort of like fold a little bit on some, I don't know. He's got these really weird in between shit. Like he'll defend trans rights and then, he'll go on Charlie Kirk and imply, oh yeah, sports is unfair. But then transgender people compete in California, and he refuses to change that, and he won't go out against them and just remove them from competition. So he's, you know, some of the Steve Bannon shit was a little weird, but then a part of me also understands if you are running for president, you kind of got to go into the other side and infiltrate them a little bit. That's part of it. You have to sort of go in and kneecap them. And sometimes you kneecap them by going into their environment and winning over the people that are watching them with your personality and shit. So it's just really complicated. I don't know where I stand on him at any given time, but I will say this. He's not my choice for the primary, okay? I don't know who my choice is for the primary yet, but right now Gavin's not it. But if Gavin wins the primary, I will back him 100% all the way into the White House. And if he did win, I almost, it would be worth it to see what Cenk and Anna would do. Can you imagine if he wins the primary? Like, they're going to be done, bro. Like, if he won that primary, Cenk and Anna would literally, I don't think they'd be able to speak. They would be so, like, furious, so triggered the whole time. AOC 2028, I would love to see AOC 2028. I don't know if AOC is going to run in 2028 though. I don't know if she is. I suspect, you call me crazy, but I suspect that AOC might take Chuck Schumer's Senate seat. I wouldn't be surprised about that, right? That is a strong possibility. Tim Walz, no. No, Tim Walz is a no. And I'll tell you why Tim Walz. Ooh, Newsom AOC. That would be interesting. Here's my thing on Tim Walz, guys. I've been very open. I love Tim Walz. I love the person. I love the policies. I think he's a great legislator. I wanted him to run for Tina Smith's Senate seat. I think Tim Walz would have been a great Senate leader. But my problem is I don't think Tim Walz could win a national election for one main reason. He doesn't have any wriggle, okay? And what do I mean by wriggle? I talked about that. So there's two main qualifications, guys, for a national running politician. Number one is like you on the mic. When you're out there at a stump speech, at a rally, and you're talking to people, and you're reading your speech, and you're getting everyone fired up. Tim Walz is great at that. He is great at the rally. He is great on stage with his mic being funny and getting zingers in. I love him at that. But more important than the rally is when you are confronted, okay? Because another part of running for national office is you sit in a chair and a reporter says, you're a liar, you're a sneak, here's all the times you've lied to us, everybody's against you, you're full of shit, what are you gonna do? You're completely wrong, right? And then the politician needs to turn that back on him and be like, I'm not a liar, you're a liar. I'm actually the only person here that's telling the truth, right? I am the one with the vision. You don't even know what you're talking about. And like the politician has to be good at like knocking the confrontation back. And I have not seen that yet from Tim. Like every time I see Tim get confronted, he like gets compliant. Oh, right. Like that Nancy Mace. He was like, what do you want me to say? I don't understand the question. It's like, no, that's not how you respond, Tim. What you say to Nancy Mace is you say, you have some nerve, Nancy, to have me here in front of a Senate hearing and you're asking me to define what a woman is as if that is the important situation confronting our country. Like, I'll tell you what a woman is. A woman is a biological female or somebody who socially presents as a woman. Nancy, do you believe in God? Yes, you do. Okay, you call God he. Does God have a penis, Nancy? What are God's chromosomes, Nancy? Let's talk about gender, Nancy, right? And like Tim Walz doesn't do that, okay? He's too compliant when he gets confronted. And Now, I don't think that's a bad quality in him. He's just a genuinely nice, like, I don't want to shake the apple cart kind of guy. And when confronted, he's not, ferocious. He's more like, let's heal this confrontation. But you can't win a national election. You know what I'm saying? You can't win a national election being compliant. You just can't, You know what I'm saying? Like, if I had been Tim Walz in that hearing, I feel like I would have slammed Nancy Mace. That was an opportunity. Like, and I even said that when we watched that hearing, that you ready? Blanket statement here. Every single Democratic candidate in the entire country, you have to have an answer for what is a woman. You have to have an answer that is like a slam dunk. If you can't answer that what is a woman question with something that turns it on them, you can't run for office. I know it sounds dumb, but it's true. It's like that is like requirement number one, that when they ask you that question, you burn them with it. And if not, you have no business running because you know they're going to go there. You know they're going there. It's like that is like politics 101 now. Like you kind of have to know the sort of cheesy, shitty things they're going to do. And you have to have prepared responses that slam it to the point of where they don't even want to ask you that question anymore. And then you can go into an interview and be like, what? You're not going to ask me what a woman is? I thought that was your whole game, right? For the last 5 years, you've been talking about what is a woman. And now you're not even going to ask me. Why aren't you asking me, Nancy? I think the whole world wants you to ask me what a woman is, Nancy. And Nancy's like, please leave me alone. Oh, Trumpy, let me rub your prostate. Right? Oh, let's go. Dude, Zoodles, thanks for being here. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got it. It's like politics nowadays. You have to be able to answer those questions, right? You do. It's really hard. It's unfortunate that we've degraded to that point. But a big part of the Republican politics is about that sort of like, quick burn. Yeah, see, Pritzker, he's interesting. Okay, he's interesting. He's really a bulldog in that sort of realm. And I feel like Newsom is a bulldog as well. Mayor Pete, right? Buttigieg is not really a bulldog, but he is like really, intellectually savvy, right? It's going to be interesting. And of course, I love AOC. I am telling you right now, the thing I am most intrigued by. I don't know about you guys, but there's one thing that I'm curious is what is Bernie going to do with the ball? Right? Because Bernie has been active. He's been a big voice. He has been the oligarchy. He's sort of renewing that fucking energy that Bernie had as like the fighter, the word of truth. But like now he's got that political football. What's he going to do? Who's he going to hand it to? Is he going to hand it to AOC? Is he going to hand it to Pritzker or Newsom? Like, is he going to just like hold on to it and be like another spoke in the wheel of the next election? Somebody who then just chips away at the Democratic candidate because he's still resentful that he never got his shot, right? Like there's a lot of unpredictability there because I feel like Bernie actually has enough clout to really, shatter some stuff. And yeah, I don't like Pritzker being a billionaire. I don't like billionaires. But again, I'll take anybody who's not a Republican. I don't care. Dude, I would vote for fucking Ronald fucking McDonald. You know what I mean? I would. Dude, give me Ronnie McD, bro. I will have no problem with Ronnie McD. Dude, should we watch? I heard that Bernie Joe Rogan interview was a disaster. Wasn't it Bernie on Rogan? What I heard it was like a disaster. You're going to hold me to voting for Ronald McDonald? Dude. Bernie just looked beat up. Dude, look at him. Dude, he looks he looks haggard, bro. Should we watch a few minutes of this? Do we have a good timestamp? Can somebody find me a good timestamp for Bernie? Yeah, Amy, I'm with you. Like I have not been happy with Bernie. The same, what was the name of that podcast? Flagrant. Remember when Bernie went on Flagrant? Like, not cool. Dude, I didn't like the way he was on Flagrant, where he was just sort of like, I don't know, feeling like he needs to capitulate a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like he feeling like he needs to capitulate to sort of get along, as opposed to going in there and really taking charge. And because, you ready? Like I would love to go on Flagrant, because I feel like this. I feel like right-wingers or left-wing people should go on Rogan. They should go on Flagrant. They should go on Theo Von, but they should have a mission, okay? Your mission is to go in there and dismantle some of the propaganda points, right? That's kind of what I feel like needs to happen, is you have to be very good at diffusing some of those propaganda points, right? And I feel like, you know, and I think that's just really important, right? But he does look a little tired. The shorts are the best. Go to 5 seconds and start. Get on Rogan. Dude, I would love to get on Rogan. I have to become a much bigger deal, though. I'm right now, guys, it's almost like I don't exist. I mean, it's not true. You guys know me, and we're building a very loyal, like, group of people in the channel. Like, the channel growth has been extraordinary, and we're totally, like, building this amazing thing. But to these guys, to, like, Rogan and all these big guys, like, I don't exist. You know what I'm saying? I am like a speck of dust on the cosmic political landscape. But we'll get there. We will definitely get there. All right. So somebody said there's a Cenk clip. Cenk did a podcast bro thing that's in the reacts. Where was that? Natalie said somebody had posted that. Or somewhere in the chat, somewhere in the Discord. Dude. Pac-Man has only been on Rogan twice. Dude, you know what I was a little surprised, guys? Was, can we talk about David Pac-Man for a minute? Okay, because right? Because check this out. Okay, I was totally surprised by this, guys. Right? How, look at Pac-Man's videos. Okay? He finally posted a video about Mamdani, right? But so he didn't really in the first day. And I thought that was really interesting, right? Because I know that David Pac-Man considers himself to be like a you know, he considers himself a self-avowed progressive, right? He does. He's very clear about a progressive, but like he didn't cover Mamdani until like well after the dust had cleared. Now, I thought maybe he was doing that, you know, to like whatever, see what the reaction was and build a story. But I was a little surprised because I fully expected him to be like first guy in, right? Like, you know, like Figueiredo, you know what I mean? Figueiredo made 3 videos that first day, right? You know what I'm saying? Like like, when we look at Figueiredo, look at what he did, dude. He was like, Mamdani, dude, another Mamdani. Dude, he is like making more content. Figueiredo is. He's like more content, you know, and just all over it. But Pac-Man was, you know, just, should we watch a little? See what his response is even? Because he says, is this the rise of a new political order? See, is Pac-Man like soft on the Palestinian tip? Does he kind of avoid the Palestinian situation? Is that what Pac-Man does? Does he just sort of like blindly navigate around that or what? Right? I mean, you know, yeah, I was intrigued by it.
Welcome to the show. I'm back from Washington, D.C. Almost didn't make it back. You know, 5 minutes of thunderstorms near DCA set off an unlikely but disastrous series of creeping delays.
Almost didn't make it back. He's always so dramatic. Trump is targeting me. I'm going to have to move to Antarctica. Dude, he's always so dramatic. Like, oh my God, I barely made it here today. There was a hot dog vendor outside and I almost died by the hot dog vendor. Dude, he is a drama queen.
And it was a close one. But I did fortunately make it back for the show. I've been asking myself, and I want to ask you and bring you into this conversation. Are we witnessing right now the rise of a new political order on the American left wing? Is this happening? I'm going to give you the bullet points. I'm going to give you my analysis, and then I want to hear from you. We saw in New York City, Zohran Mamdani, an open democratic socialist, refuses corporate money, defeat in the Democratic primary elements of the Democratic machine that include, of course, former Governor Andrew Cuomo. It was a pretty convincing defeat. And this is arguably the same movement that gave us Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who similarly won a stunning upset Democratic primary in her district at the very start of her involvement in American politics.
There
this
we
is
go.
The same movement to a degree that backburned
That's
Sanders
the way
for
we
president,
enjoy
multiple
Pac-Man.
times when the Democratic establishment attempted to shut him down. And this is a movement that is now loudly saying, as I hear it, we do not trust the old Democratic Party to stop Donald Trump. So the natural question right now, almost July 2025, is, are these some isolated victories? Or is this actually the beginning of a new political order on the American left? Now, the answer to it...
Dude, the person who, Civic, saying, is he doing a community theater monologue? Oh my God, you just broke me with that. Because that does feel like it, doesn't it? Community theater monologue. Just even the setup looks like a community theater set. I mean, I love you, David Pack. I do. But it's just so, like, it's just so gentle. You know what I mean? Everything about him is just so, like, I'm not going to ruffle any feathers. I'm not going to, like, we're going to make sure the boat doesn't rock at all. I know it's like, it's just, he is just such a chill guy. But it actually, like, it actually gets me, bro. I need some oomph, bro. You know?
To a degree, depends on what you want to see. I know that my audience is not totally united on this. But if you step back and look at the National Democratic Party, mostly still run by what we would call centrist lifers, consultant class strategists, donor-backed moderates, a growing number of left-wing voices, including I know many in my audience, are done with that. And if you look at just the comment sections for my interviews with any elected senator, it is palpable that there is a contempt among some in my audience, no matter what they say. Very mixed reaction. I mean, just yesterday, interviewed Cory Booker. We posted a clip. I think Cory Booker said some excellent things if you just analyze what he said. And the comments are riddled with people who are just furious. How dare I even interview him? And what about this thing he did? What about that thing he did? When I think if we zoom out, Cory Booker is among Democratic senators, one of the better allies that we have. And talking to him both on camera yesterday and behind the scenes only reinforced that. So if we look at this new political order, it, of course, blames Trump's return on the people that voted for Trump, on MAGA. But it also blames Trump's return on Democrats who stood for very little. Part of my analysis of why Kamala Harris lost. Democrats that ran on fear and fundraising emails without really offering a vision that goes beyond, we aren't Trump. Trump's terrible. We're not Trump. Matches the criticism that I've had. But now we are seeing that rejection of establishment Democrats really show up at the ballot box. So we saw candidates like Mamdani in New York City. It used to be fringe not to take corporate PAC money. Now it's almost a requirement if you want credibility with these younger left-wing voters. And more, the grassroots isn't just asking for better Democrats. It really wants a clean break from the donor class political ecosystem. And they might be right, because when you talk to Gen Z voters, and many of them don't even see the Democratic Party as the opposition anymore, Trump's in office, the far right is in charge, young voters feel like Democrats have already surrendered on so many issues. You look at climate or housing, labor, it's a very long list. So into that vacuum of leadership steps a new kind of leader. People like AOC, Bernie, Mamdani, people who don't just say vote blue, but who say, hey, the Democratic Party needs to be rebuilt. Now,
yeah, see, that's just it. I kind of agree with you guys that I don't dislike Cory Booker. Okay, I don't look at him and feel, I don't look at him like I look at somebody like Fetterman, right? Where you just look at them and you're like, God damn, you're terrible. We need to get them out of office, right? I don't look at Cory Booker and think poorly of him, right? But I don't think of him, as a leader in the party. He's just blah. You know what I mean? That's what he is. He's just blah. He's a Democrat. He's going to support like the right pieces of legislation mostly. But then there's a lot of times he's going to do stupid shit and he's going to vote for some middle of the road sort of like don't rock the boat kind of deal. And now don't get me wrong. Okay, don't get me wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with having some middle of the road people in Congress. I just don't want the leadership to be the middle of the road. Okay, like I feel like the middle of the road, it's like the leadership is supposed to be the people that are the fighters, that are the schemers, that are the ones that have the biggest PR profiles. So they're out there selling the agenda to the people. You have the AOCs, you have the Jamie Raskins, the Swalwells, you have the people, the Chris Murphys, these guys that are out there that are talkers and have a high profile, right? But you need to have more people like AOC than you need to have like, Swalwell and Chris Murphy, right? And then you look at somebody like Cory Booker, and he's like even more in the middle. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I know he had his big sort of Senate filibuster, but like that was a great moment, but it didn't really accomplish that much, And so you really need, somebody like, I don't know. I feel like the Democrats, like a classic example was that Jerry Connolly debacle. Okay. So AOC was up for head of oversight, right? Was it oversight or was it judiciary? It was oversight, right? Wasn't it with Connolly? So she wanted to be head of oversight and they made Jerry Connolly it. Okay. And sure, Connolly died, whatever. They needed to just give him that spot because he was old. But the thing about that though was his yes, Crockett is great too. His profile was so small, okay? If you're going to have the Dem on the head of a committee, they have to have a huge public profile. You want somebody that can go out there and be the mouthpiece that like of those important committees, right? Judiciary and oversight. You want people to be on those committees that are like, when they speak, all of America hears it. Jerry Connolly's tweeting something and it's getting like 100 likes. And it's like, bro, that should not be like, those people should not be heading a committee, right? Like you can't play that game anymore. You can't play that game anymore where you just have like a politician in the role. It's like you need personalities now. I would love to do a Vanguard collab. Dude, I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready for all those collabs. Yeah. See, I the thing about Cory Booker and all of those sort of middle of the road Democrats is like they are seeking a path to winning. Okay? That's what they are. They look at it as like, how do we win the election? What path can I walk to win the election? But they don't have a concern if while they walk that path, the people they talk to on that path end up mad at them. And that's a real problem. Okay? That's a real problem, because what we really need now is we need people who deliver a path. They're not seeking a path. They're delivering one. Okay? Instead of being like Cory Booker out there saying, well, what kind of stance do we need to take to win? We need leaders that go, here's where I'm going, and this is going to be great for us. Come with me, right? I'm leading the path. The leader isn't out there like, which way do we go? Which way do we go? Let's take a poll. No, a leader is the person who charts the path. And then they go out there and they walk it with enough conviction and enough passion and enough vision that everybody wants to follow them, right? Instead of like, oh, we're at a fork in the road. Oh, let's take a poll. Oh, the poll says you don't like trans people? All right, so we're going to go throw them under the bus. And it's like, no, that's not leadership, okay? That is like spineless jellyfish fucking, blind navigating. You know what I'm saying? And we definitely need people that aren't afraid to chart a course and walk it and then defend it. You know what I'm saying? Defend it. And create something that people want to follow. Dude, let's go. Dude, I'm glad you're here, Bing. Let's go, baby. Dude, we're getting there. All right, we're getting there. Maybe one day you're going to see me like running for Congress.
Now, there's an accelerationist aspect to that is not exactly my politics, but it doesn't matter. I'm secondary here. I'm just analyzing what we are seeing. I only get one vote. There's a generational line that is sort of hardening here. The party of Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries is still dominating in Washington, D.C., and boy, do they dominate. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things that was very front and center when I was there yesterday. But you look on the ground in districts and in cities and around the country,
nobody
it's a very
likes him.
Story. You see nobody likes 35. It's not just that they're more progressive. That's
dude. You ready? You want to know when Hakeem Jeffries lost me? Okay, I was never anti Hakeem Jeffries, right? He's a little heavy with the hand motions and shit. Sometimes his like, well, let me just, everything's like a like Hakeem Jeffries, right? He's like, let me just tell you, what we're going to do is we're going to plant a seed, and our seed is going to be planted, and we're going to, do some great things, right? All over there, right? That's my Hakeem Jeffries impersonation. But so I never hated him, okay? I knew he was a Pelosi guy, and I always sort of respected him until one thing, guys. You know what I'm saying? It was one tweet that really, when I realized this is not our guy, and it was shortly after the election, okay? It was shortly, or maybe it was, I don't know, I'm going to find it for you. I'm going to show you the moment Hakeem lost me. And it was this tweet. Ready? Hold on. Watch this. I'll show you. It was one tweet in particular. It was, I'm going to find it. Right? It was this tweet right here was the end for me. Okay? It's this tweet right here because it's January 26th. So we have that creepy inauguration, millions of dollars raised. You have the billionaire banquet behind him, all these idiots, Bezos and Sergey Brin and all them, and all this chaos. And we know, like, already they're starting to dismantle shit. 1 week in, they're trying to gut USAID, and they're just making a wreckage. And Hakeem says presidents come and presidents go through it all. Some shit about God being on the throne. And I'm like, bro, dude, and there, look what I said. I'm like, no offense, dude, but when Christian nationalist freaks are trying to take over the government, seeing you do this shit isn't inspiring any confidence that you're going to try to stop them. right? You know what I mean? Dude, this shit just really bothered me, bro. It really bothered me because you know what it was? It was kind of like he was saying thoughts and prayers, right? For the whole country. Like, yeah, there's an authoritarian who's going to wreck the government, but you know, at least we have God. Go pray to God on the throne, right? It's like, man, the fuck are you talking about, bro? You know? I mean, that shit just really got me, bro. It really got me, dude. It just killed me, dude. It did. It did. It killed me. And because that's when I realized, like, this ain't the right leader, dude. This guy is, like, giving us thoughts and prayers instead of, like, this tweet right here should have been something that is, like, you know, Trump will destroy this government on my last breath, okay? I will personally throw myself down in front of the Trump train and I will fight this man until I am dead. America, I've got you, right? You know what I'm saying? Like we will take this guy down. Anything that has some kind of like, some oomph to it. But no, Hakeem was like, thoughts and prayers. Oh, at least we got God on the toilet, right? God is still on the toilet. Oh, shit. Dude, Figueiredo just went right for his throat, bro. Jesus. You know what I'm saying? You don't care about your potential once you bring a deity, you're dead to you. Yeah, no, I get it. I think that weird, no teeth is a great way of saying it. Yeah, he's got no teeth, none. And that, you know, that bothers me.
There's an aspect of that, but it's more so that they are more skeptical of the institutions that got us the modern Democratic Party. They're more willing to call out corporate capture. They're more open to structural change that starts to border on accelerationism. So this is not just a messaging issue. In some of my conversations with elected officials that will be playing over the next few days that I recorded yesterday in DC, you'll see that there is a focus on policy and there's a focus on messaging, but it's not even really that. We are increasingly facing a worldview gap. And that may be a greater dividing line in this new political order of the left. Now, I also want to do sort of like a reality check about where we are. Zoran Mamdani won a primary. Okay, we'll see what happens in November. It was a primary. Often the primary is a proxy to the general in a lot of these elections, but we have to wait and see what happens in November to say, okay, was this actually an instance, a vignette in this new political order? AOC, for all her star power and how I think she's developed into a far more pragmatic and effective member of Congress, she is still a member of Congress with limited legislative wins. And this is the part that gets tough, some of this new left that brought her to victory at the beginning of her political career is now angry with AOC. To some, AOC has sold out now because she is more cognizant of how you get power and how politics in Washington works. So
that's not inaccurate. That is the conundrum of national politicians. As much as I find, you know, sometimes David Pakman to not be the most exciting guy, he's actually pretty accurate with his take there, because what he just said there is like really true. I believe it is the path of the leftist legislator, right? Because look at this. Let's look at Zoran Mamdani, right? He just smokes this primary, big win. He stuffs Cuomo, right? Is a huge win, but it's fucking New York City, okay? If you put Zoran Mamdani, the same guy running for a Senate seat in a state like Virginia or Pennsylvania, I don't know if he wins, right? I don't know if he wins a statewide election in a Pennsylvania, in Michigan, definitely, right? In Wisconsin, maybe. In Pennsylvania, I don't know. Virginia, I don't know, right? North Carolina, probably not, you know? And so it's really hard because you can win as a Democratic Socialist, but when the Democratic Socialists get into the U.S. Congress, there's like a different game that has to be played there, because you can't just go in and dismantle the whole Congress, right? And you can't just be nothing but a spoke in the wheel to everybody because they'll just freeze you out, right? So if you do get into Congress, you have to find a way to climb the power ranks in Congress while not like sacrificing your ideals. You know what I'm saying? You think Zoran isn't going to win the general? Too many racist established Democrats? I mean, that's a legitimate fear. Like everybody is scheming against Zoran, right? He's got Bill Ackman, the Democrat big donors. He's got Cuomo. He's got fucking, Eric Adams, right? Like everybody and their mother is trying to crush that guy and thwart him. So it's going to be tough. I mean, it's going to be tough, but I think he's going to win though, guys. I really do. Here's what I think, and I could be wrong, but I think the resistance is going to galvanize. You remember how there's a video I made about Cenk and Anna not too long ago? You may remember it, where there's a moment where Cenk, I think it was when he was talking to Kyle and Crystal, and he said, no, we gotta win some of these middle of the road people. And I was like, no, fuck that. We don't have to win any of these MAGA voters at all. We just have to galvanize all the people that would never make that choice, that didn't like Joe Biden and didn't like Kamala Harris because they were two whatever politicians from 30 years ago, right? And I think that's what I think is going to happen in New York. I think what's going to happen is they're going to mount an attack on Zoran that unlike you've ever seen, that's racist and misinformation and filled with money and attacks. But what's going to happen is the people that disagree with the Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries politics are going to get so rabid that every motherfucker that disagrees with that old guard is going to come out for that fight, right? It's going to be like a huge turnout. Like even in this primary that Mamdani won, that primary had like the biggest youth turnout, I think, in history in a Democratic primary. It was like crazy, right? Because they're clamoring for change. And I think they're going to get solidified. You know what I'm saying? I think they are. That's what I think.
We'll see what is next for her. Bernie never became president. He's made it clear he's not running again. He's near the end of his career. So the point here is there's a lot of energy. There is clearly a desire for this new left political order. Energy is not the same thing as power yet. We will see whether the energy translates to power. Now, still, if the Democratic establishment keeps offering nothing except Trump sucks, and if Trump keeps getting worse, which he almost certainly will, this new movement might not just be the future of the left. It might be the only thing that's left if the establishment Democratic Party just keeps running on Trump's bad, which doesn't really seem to be that great of an idea for winning elections. For years, the progressive left has lived in a sort of state of suspended animation, maybe. A lot of ideas, but nowhere really to go.
See, did you notice, though? I don't know if you noticed, but did you notice how Pacman didn't really weigh in on how he feels about Mamdani? He doesn't like him, does he? He's not a Zoran fan, is he? Right? I don't think he is, because he was very astute in like, oh, this guy won just a primary, and he hasn't won the election yet, so it may not turn into any sort of power. But he didn't weigh in at all, right? Like even Midas Touch did a video about like, way to go, Mamdani. You know what I'm saying? But he's like, he's just curiously not sort of choosing a thing. He's become disconnected. Disconnected. I can see that. I don't know. There's something about him that he, I feel like he's a little too impartial, right? Does that make sense? I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I don't trust anyone who's impartial, right? I don't trust people who are impartial. It's like, we are living in a time of polarization, a time where one group of voters have made it so masked marauders are threatening people in the streets and putting them in cars with no license plates. Like, you need to pick a fucking side, bro. Yeah, you need to pick a side vehemently, right? Like something that you pick it and it is like, God damn it, I am all in here. You're either all in or all in. You don't get to ride the fence on, well, you know, the Democrats are struggling because, you know, they're upset with Schumer's leadership, and the Republicans are like jailing everyone with brown skin. But let's see how this political battle works out, right? Like, come on, man. Dude, that's not Humpty Pac-Man. Dude, somebody earlier said something about him like wearing a tablecloth. And that really, it really did hit me. Dude, I'm tired of the middle. It's like I got a new philosophy. You ready? I'm putting it in chat. There it is. New philosophy. Right? Get out of the middle, bro. Get out. Oh, Cenk, don't be in the middle. Dude, you're going to get crushed in the middle. We need no more middle, right? He has his share of hate mail. Yeah. Well, so the thing about Pac-Man, though, is I feel like he actually has really good policies. Like, he's one of those people that, you know, with policy, right? With policy, like his policy ideas are great. I think he's very smart. Like the way he described, you know, how the left felt about AOC, like you gotta tell me that is like super smart. You know what I'm saying? He was like right on. He just nailed it in a really good, like, yes, that's exactly what happens. Is the leftist got her in office, and the minute she started navigating national politics, they felt a little bit like she was selling out because they don't understand that you do have to navigate some politics. So I feel like he's right on, and he has really great policy ideas. He's just sort of, he's got a little bit of that Tim Walz syndrome, right? Where he's just sort of like, he doesn't want to upset anybody, you know? He doesn't want to upset anyone. And, you know, and I think, I don't know, man, maybe it's just me, but I want to upset some people. I do. I want to upset some people. I want to strike fear into the hearts of some people. All right, dude, let me find this Cenk Uygur fucking piece that we were supposed to look at. Natalie said it was in Discord, but I'm not seeing it. There's there's a Francesca on the Vanguard. Oh, here it is. Oh, this is it. Ready? You ready to see some right-wing potties? All right, good night, Mitten. It's funny that your name is Mitten. We have a leopard gecko called Mitten, named Mitten. Oh, yeah, baby. Yeah, yeah. Oh. The look on his face. I know, dude. Look at his face. I should clip that, right? That's a thumbnail right there, isn't it? Dude. Dude, how much ketamine did he slam, dude? Oh, Lord. Oh, Lordy. Oh, Cenk. Oh, Cenk. Polymarket smug, dude. Well, let's go. Let's see who he's got on here. Has he started off with some podcast bros? I'm just scrolling through. John Iadarola is on later. Stradley, let's go. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. So he's on at the end. There's one podcast bro on at the end. Are they both on at the end? Jesse on fire and Dan Holloway. Good night, babe.
Good night.
See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow, honey. All right. Dude, so what do we got here? Trying to see. Oh, yeah, it's SCOTUS and birthright citizenship. I want to see the podcast bro section. Let's jump to these podcast bro guys. All right, here we go.
All right, back on the Young Turks. So before the election, I debated a couple of right-wing podcasters. One of them is Dan Holloway, host of the Drinking Bros podcast and the Citizen podcast. I wanted to do a check-in and probably get frustrated. So let's do it. Dan, how you doing?
I'm living the dream. How about you?
Well, kinda. So, all right, let's start with this, Dan. So far, are you happy with Trump?
For the most part, yeah. I mean, look, there's always some gripes and complaints, and I think no matter what's going on, it's incumbent upon people to be harder on their own side than the other side, whatever you consider yourself to be, because that's how we fine-tune things, right? I mean, that should be the incubator at the lowest possible level with the people you agree with the most, and then move that more broadly out. And you and people like me and you can have debates after that. But I would say mostly, we talked about this back in November, but the election for me was about three things. One is securing the homeland, specifically the border, which I think they're doing a good job there.
Dude, securing the homeland. Dude, why is it that all of these right-wing guys, well, one is securing the homeland. 2 is buying a Don't Tread on Me t-shirt. 3 is I really require the presidential candidate to be able to change a tire on my F-350, right? 4 is they've got to be into sexual assault. Dude, like, what is going on? Oh my God, the closeted football coach is such an accurate. That is such an accurate. Look at his thing. Hard AF seltzer, right? Omaha Steaks. There's another thing back here that says hard on the piece of wood. Everything in this guy's thing is like hard. Like, I'm telling you guys, I'm hard. I am tough. Like, let me show you. Let me pull my sleeve up so a little of my tattoo shows. And I'm going to just hold my arm here so you can see a fully engaged tricep through the entire interview, right? I'm just going to apply a little pressure to the desk like that, right? Look at that. Oh, yeah, you see that? That's a tricep. Hey, that's how I secure the homeland with that tricep. Dude, they're all like, this guy is like Dan Bongino's, like, like half straight uncle. Right? Oh, Lord, bro. Dude, it's so funny.
Second is getting debt, which is to mean spending under control. That's not happened. And then advancing the country. And to me, that means like American soft power and then innovating as well and trying to stay out of direct ground combat wars. American
soft power after they dismantled the agency that did that. Like, clown world with these people.
Okay at that. That's been a mixed bag as well, but more or less, yeah.
Okay, yeah, all right, that seems like an honest analysis. That's exactly what we expect from you. So before we get to war in America first, which is what I'm most interested in for the purposes of this conversation, give me 1 or 2 things that you're unhappy with on the Trump administration.
Yeah, what I'm well, see, the thing that I'm most unhappy about is the inability to codify spending cuts, and to me, that's mostly not a Trump problem. That's a Congress problem. I mean, we know these people.
See, again, notice what's going on here, okay? Because Cenk Uygur, Rebecca, let's go. Glad you're here. So Cenk Uygur has been playing a shell game, okay? Now we've all seen Cenk Uygur's shell game, okay? Cenk Uygur was saying how, these guys are going to turn on Trump. Okay, that's what his whole thing is. The war is going to make him turn on Trump. And yes, what Natalie said was exactly right. He's worried about boots on the ground wars, but he's not worried about sending missiles in and sending the B-2s and paying Israel to just fight for the next 4 years, yada, yada, yada. But so the thing that's really interesting about this is Cenk's shell game, okay? Because Cenk is out there when he's with Kyle, when he's with the leftists, he's like, no, we're going to win MAGA, right? Because they're upset. The war's going to break MAGA. They're going to turn on Trump. But look at the first thing this guy said when he said, okay, give us something about Trump you're really unhappy with. And the guy says, well, I'm unhappy with the lack of spending cuts, but that's not Trump. That's Congress. So you see what happens is all of these Trumpistan motherfuckers, every one of these Trumpies will always blame somebody else. He will never blame Trump. Okay, the spending cuts is Congress. Oh, the wars are the neocons, right? They will always find somebody who is not Trump, because that is the rule of the MAGA, is you worship Trump and you're devoted to Trump, and then even if you're pissed at what he's doing, you find somebody else that is the fault for it. And he already did that. Cenk is like, oh, tell us what you're really disappointed in Trump. And he's like, yeah, you know what I'm really disappointed in Trump is Congress, right? Right? Let's see if he says anything about Trump, and let's see if Cenk pushes back, right? Let's see.
Are going to do this stuff. I've seen very little movement on that. And for Trump's part, the big, beautiful bill, don't support that at all. I think omnibus bills were the devil 12 months ago. And from my perspective, they're still not good. So you're not going to convince me that they're great now, no matter what. No matter what's in them, and no matter what clever name Trump comes up with for it, I'm not going to support that. I understand why you would do it, because you've got Congress to get through, and you're trying to get a lot of stuff done in 4 years. You don't have the opportunity to get reelected and stuff like that. But
well, it's not even that. It's the nature of the 51 votes, right? They try to do it all in this big reconciliation bill so they don't have to get 60 votes. If they do individual bills, every bill needs 60 votes. They're numbnuts. Come on, Dan Holloway, at least have a basic understanding of how the goddamn Senate works before you're out here telling us about, oh, I don't want the omnibus bill. I want every individual bill. But dude, then you're not going to get anything passed, you dumbass. That's what's crazy about these right wingers. It's like they don't even understand. I mean, those big bills are annoying as shit, but needing 51 votes, they try to cram everything they can. Everything that the parliamentarian won't pull out, they're shoving in there, because they're going to get as much in that 51 vote reconciliation bill as possible. I mean, that's kind of what you have to do in a divided government. It's unfortunate, but you can't really govern with 60 anymore, because the GOP won't ever partner up with anybody, dude. They won't even partner with themselves.
I haven't seen anything to really persuade Congress to cut spending or codify into the Doge cuts, which is mostly waste, fraud, and abuse.
The Doge cuts.
Like that. And personally, I think it's a fantasy that the Senate rescission bill is going to significantly cut anything. I really just don't believe that. I mean, they were celebrating over, I think, $9 billion in Doge cuts, which would fund the government for 12 hours. So that's nothing, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly right. Okay, so I'm curious about the details, though, because I agree with a lot of what you just said. The omnibus bills are a problem because they just stuff it full of pork, and they stuff it with all these extraneous things, and then you never get to find out, hey, what do they think about this or that? They should view, and Tom Massey agrees with us, and so do people on the left, right? So, but we probably disagree on some of the spending cuts. So real quick, give me your thoughts on these three, right? So one is the Medicaid and SNAP cuts. I'm against them. They're about 1.1 trillion, and we're also doing tax cut for people making above $500,000. That's also 1.1 trillion. So I take that as just taking it from the poor and giving to the rich. If you didn't give to the rich, then I say, okay, well, at least you're saving money, et cetera. So, but I'm curious what you think about that. And then Progressive Ro Khanna, he found like 12 trillion in cuts, but you'd have to cut the Pentagon. I'm curious what you think about that. And things like oil subsidies. We give away $17 billion every single year to the oil companies. So what's your take on those three?
Well, I mean, it's complex, right? Obviously, all of these things are. As far as Medicaid and SNAP go, I think that we're, so this is my position. I think you and I will probably disagree with this, but I think it's the citizens' job to take care of each other, not the government. I don't trust government to do that. And they've shown historically that they're not only incapable of doing it, but they hold the ability to do it over your head to extract.
Dude, wait, I got distracted there. Hold on, let's go back here for fucking 20 seconds here. Dude, Cenk Kirk Beer Summit. Dude, I want the Cenk Kirk Wood Chipper Summit is what we should have.
You have to cut the Pentagon. I'm curious what you think about that. And giving to the rich. If you didn't give to the rich, and we're also doing SNAP cuts. I'm again, but we probably disagree on some of the spending cuts.
All right, let's see.
So real quick, give me your thoughts on these three, right? So one is the Medicaid and SNAP cuts. I'm against them. They're about 1.1 trillion, and we're also doing tax cut for people making above $500,000. That's also 1.1 trillion. So I take that as just taking it from the poor and giving to the rich. If you didn't give to the rich, then I say, okay, well, at least you're saving money, et cetera. So, but I'm curious what you think about that. And then Progressive Ro Khanna, he found like 12 trillion in cuts, but you'd have to cut the Pentagon. I'm curious what you think about that. And things like oil subsidies. We give away $17 billion every single year to the oil companies. So what's your take on those three?
Well, I mean, it's complex, right? Obviously, all of these things are. As far as Medicaid and SNAP go, I think that we're, so this is my position. I think you and I will probably disagree with this, but I think it's the citizens' job to take care of each other, not the government. I don't trust government to do that. And
see, dude, the citizens' job to take care of each other. What does that mean, Dan Holloway? Like, when I get sick, you're gonna write a check for my health care? They're fuck nuts? Or if I have a disabled kid or a disabled parent, you're gonna, like, I'm supposed to go knock on my neighbor's door and they're gonna take care of it? Like, the citizens' job to take care of each other, what does that even mean, bro? That is nonsense. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, that is some bullshit. Because what does that even look like? I mean, that's the problem. That's why you have government, is because citizens don't generally want to take care of each other. You know what I mean? Like, we need to have an institution that just takes care of us all. So then it's not an issue. They take our taxes and they take care of us all, right? That's the whole point. But in his world, it's like, oh yeah, when he gets sick, his neighbors just come over and like swipe a credit card or some shit. Like, what is he even talking about, man?
And they've shown historically that they're not only incapable of doing it, but they hold the ability to do it over your head to extract more labor and wealth from the population. That, to me, is unacceptable. Now, people in general will get the government that they ask for, and by asking for, I mean, if you sit around, if you don't know your neighbor's name and don't talk to those people and go down there and help them, then you're going to get big government coming in trying to have these super wasteful Medicaid and SNAP benefits programs.
Dude, what an idiot. If you don't get and know your neighbor's name and go take care of them, but like, you ready? Hold on, let's pause here, because Dan Holloway here is saying if you don't go take care of your neighbor, but dude, this guy's in the party that, like, if their neighbor's gay, they're gonna burn down their goddamn house, right? If their neighbor's transgender, they're going to, like, genital check them at the bathroom. So yeah, you think this guy's gonna go help his gay or trans neighbor or his Muslim neighbors? Come on, bro. The guy from the party that literally plays identity politics in every facet, from every corner of their politics. It's, who are you? Are you white MAGA? Are you a Christian? No, fuck you. We're not going to help you. We're going to make you illegal. We're going to put you in a work camp. Oh, by the way, we're going to take care of our neighbors. We're going to talk about how, yeah, we got to take care of our neighbors. Dude, homie is like living in fantasy land. Like, bro, you think we forgot what party you are? We forgot that your patron saint is a guy who lies about schools sex changing your children? Like, Come on, man. What are you talking about?
To take money out of your pocket, and that's exactly what they do. The problem is, it is a legitimate problem, and it's not being addressed. I tell people this on my shows all the time. Just because you don't like somebody's solution to a problem doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And if you pretend it doesn't, then people that you disagree with, or even that are bad actors, are going to come in and solve that problem. What I haven't heard is any kind of legitimate replacement for that. Right.
By take care of his neighbors, he means he's going to go Second Amendment all his neighbors, right? that's what he meant. You got to go take care of your neighbors, right? That's what these idiots really are doing, right?
And it's the same as Obamacare. I believe the Republican Congress voted 63 times over a 10-year period or so to repeal Obamacare when they never had the votes to do it. They had the votes 2 times in 2019, and they voted twice to end it, and 7 and 9 Republicans respectively voted to keep it, right? These people are full of it. None of them actually want to solve any of these problems because solved problems don't get out the vote. When it comes to tax cuts, that to me is the wrong conversation. We should be talking about cutting spending, right? If you cut spending, there's no need for these taxes. But
dude, this is bullshit. These guys who say if you cut spending, there's no need for the taxes, it's incorrect, okay? Because every business, every government, every household has spending. Right now, America is $34 trillion in debt. You cannot get out of debt cutting spending, okay? You need to increase your income. You need to raise your income. If you have income, if you have debt, if you are carrying debt, whether it's small debt or big debt, you cannot cut spending out of your debt. Like, you could literally cut spending to 0 and there's still like $32 trillion in debt. We need more income. You know what I'm saying? This idea that you cut spending, like, businesses have overhead, okay? The government has overhead. Think about it. If you're in a capitalist society, I fucking hate capitalism, but for the moment, I'm going to pretend like I'm a fan of capitalism. If you are in a capitalist society, what's the number one resource that you need functioning? The number one resource in a capitalist society is labor. Okay, what is labor? Labor is people. Okay, so if you want a successful labor force, they gotta be healthy, they gotta be smart enough to be able to do a good job, and they gotta have some sense of passion. Okay, you don't want the laborers showing up and just sitting around doing nothing. You want the laborers showing up and producing. And the way you get them to produce is you make it so they have some skin in the game. There's some passion. You either give them some equity or you give them enough money, enough benefits from working that, like, they aren't just showing up because they're trying to avoid dying a miserable death on the street. They're showing up because they actually want to be there. All right. If we attack this from a place of like passion and you know, like investment, right? You invest in them, so they invest in whatever they're doing. And that's the equation to solve. But this idea of, like, you know, that you can have a country where the most important resource is labor, but then you don't give the labor anything. You just say, oh, yeah, if you get sick, go knock on your neighbor's door. Like, dude, that's bullshit. That's not a good management of the labor force, right? You don't let your resource that you need badly become stagnant. If your resource is meat, you don't let that shit become rotten and filled with, like, insects because it's no longer useful to you. You got to make sure that shit is, like, jazzed, like it needs to be powerful, right? You want your foundational resources to be, like, powerful, right? These guys, though, they're like, they live in this fantasy world because, you know, it's like, I don't even know why these guys hate government so much. I mean, I think I know why. I think it's because of the muscles and the tight t-shirt. They feel like government is like, it's like a little too much powerful, a little too powerful, right? Government, he'll flex his tricep and government doesn't ooh and ah. So therefore he's like, oh, we got to get rid of government. Dude, Cenk is not going to push back on this guy. Dude, Cenk is kissing this guy's ass.
Because these people in Washington refuse to even participate in that conversation at all, then we're never going to get that, right? I mean, this is you and I having a conversation where we agree about 95% of stuff. We just disagree on how to solve it. But the reality of the situation is that nobody in Washington representatives even cares about solving this problem.
Yeah. So look, you're right that we have plenty to disagree on there, and if we sat down and figured out how to do Medicaid and SNAP or how to fix for those issues, that would be a super interesting conversation. We have limited time here.
See, that's just it. You don't want to just cut spending. You want to invest wisely in your people. Okay? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'll give you a classic example, guys. Okay? You ready? I'll give you a classic example. So I'm a YouTuber, all right? Most of my time is spent editing, right? I edit a video and voila, right? I'm investing in this video. This video is going to be the thing you watch. But you know what's funny? Sometimes I spend as long making a thumbnail as I do editing the goddamn video. And now some people would look at that and be like, dude, a thumbnail is a couple of images. Why would you spend as long on the thumbnail as the video? And you know why though, guys? Because if I don't make the thumbnail, nobody even sees the video. Like the gateway to watching the video is somebody seeing that title and thumbnail and wanting to click on it. So it is wise to invest in the thumbnail, because without the thumbnail doing its job, all the time I spent in the video is wasted. And like these guys never think about that. That like this idea of like wise investment. Okay? They literally just look at investments as like, let's reduce spending. And it's like, no, it's not necessarily about reducing spending. It's about spending wisely. It's about spending in ways that maximize the benefit for the people, right? You need to be spending on the important shit. I'm glad you like the thumbnails. I like making the thumbnails, dude. They're fun. They're fun. I have my own little quirky style, and I'm still trying to experiment too, right? But you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like these sort of pseudo libertarian weirdos that just get all the government out of here, because they look at like all spending is bad instead of like wise spending, right? Like for example, you ready? You know, I grew up with parents that were like that were all like, my mom always wanted to buy the cheapest shit. Okay. But then I developed a philosophy, right? Like with a pair of shoes, right? I'll spend some money on a pair of shoes. Why? Because how shoes fit your feet affect your entire goddamn day, right? Buying a pair of comfortable shoes, something that you feel like grounded and connected to your world in, that is a good investment. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Or for me, I'll spend a lot of money on jeans, because a good looking pair of jeans that are really comfortable, to me, that is like, that shit makes my life sing. Okay. Now, when I go out and buy lunch meat, I'll buy like some cheap shit lunch meat that is like, you know, decent, that I like the flavor of. Because to me, I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of money on lunch meat, because to me, it's not as good a value. You know what I'm saying? But on jeans, I will spend some fucking money, right? Because that's my comfort. That's like what I'm walking around in all day. Same with shoes. And so I would love it if we could all just get on the same page of at least acknowledging that what we spend our money on is more important than just cutting the spending. You know, like smart investments that pay off with the people. And Stradley, thank you. Thank you for the super thanks. I appreciate that. Because this shit pisses me off, man. You know what I'm saying? This stuff pisses me off when they're just like, all spending bad. All spending bad. Cut everything. Dude, oh my God, you voted for Fetterman. Dude, Fetterman, though, that's excusable, social butter, right? It is Fetterman, because he came out like he portrayed himself not like he is. I mean, he portrayed himself as, you know, this great progressive that was going to change, politics. And then he actually was the dude who pulled a shotgun on the black guy, right? That's who he really was. It was like, oh yeah, we probably should have looked at that event and seen the future,
The way I would solve it is I would stop letting churches get tax-free status if they don't solve these problems, because that's the reason they're getting tax-free status. Am I right?
Yeah, well, that's a really interesting idea. And that's
he pulled out the churches, though. Uh-oh. Oh, Lordy.
why it's important to have these conversations. So, but let's keep going. What did you think?
Dude, that's kind of surprising right there. That, like, oh shit, dude.
About, so I don't know if you saw, but I asked them to cut the Pentagon. They said they'd do it, and I was thinking, well, I'll believe it when I see it, right?
Sure.
And then they didn't. They added to it. What was your take on that?
Well, I guess the question is, what would you cut from the Pentagon?
Yeah, easy. They can't pass an audit. They say, I don't know where at least 400 billion is. Then I'm going to give you 400 billion less until you figure out where the money's going.
See, dude, the Pentagon is real simple, guys. You know, it is. I'm telling you right now, it's security clearances, okay? That's what's going on. I know that they keep saying that USAID, right, Elon Musk and Big Balls and all these Doge idiots talk about USAID being like the waste and the fraud and all that. But all of the fraud is in the Pentagon because there's security clearances, money goes in, and nobody knows where that money goes except the people with the security clearance access. So the biggest sort of like fraud scenario in the entire shit, bro, is the fucking, right? The whole fucking thing is that security clearance Pentagon nonsense. That's where all the fraud is. You just know it. You know all the fraud is behind the security clearance door. And so, dude, that's like, something has to be done with that, right? Something has to be done with the Pentagon. You can't, I mean, dude, where's that money even going, bro? I remember when I was younger, they did an audit and they found out they were paying like $1,000 for a hammer and shit. Like the contractors were just basically overcharging the government insanely, selling them $1,000 hammers and $5,000, garbage bags and just all this crazy shit, right? And so we know all the fraud is hidden behind security clearances. But I did see somebody talk, was it Natalie, who talked about like the churches? Because this guy, he did mention about we should pull the tax-free status of the church if they don't solve those problems. So I guess he's expecting the churches to become focused on solving homelessness and feeding the hungry. And like, dude, I don't think they can. I mean, sure, in kind of a utopian society, you could look at it as the church solving those problems for their own congregation or in their own neighborhood, right? Like if the church had their main purpose of just doing outreach in their neighborhood, where instead of people going to Sunday school and doing Bible study twice a week, they actually went to the church and went out and like clothed the homeless and fed them and built shelter for them or whatever. I guess if it was more like the Amish, then maybe that would actually functionally work. But it's pretty unrealistic because most churches are just, I don't know what they're doing with their money. You know what I'm saying? You have the mega churches in Texas and the Midwest and shit and in the South that are buying goddamn like jets and shit. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, this guy's sort of living in a hard Omaha Steaks kind of fantasy land, right?
I think that's fair, yeah. I mean, honestly, they haven't passed an audit, I think, since 2000. Is that right? I think that's what it is.
No, they've never passed an audit. Since they started auditing the Pentagon, they've never once passed one.
That's not shocking to me, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, look,
Yeah, well, your boy Trump just increased the budget to $1 trillion there, Dan Holloway. Aren't you upset at Trump? Are you mad at Trump, your spending guy, for increasing that defense budget to an agency that can't pass an audit where you have no idea where your precious tax dollars are going? Doesn't that bother your big libertarian? Don't your big libertarian nuts get all swollen with rage when you find out that Trumpy, we're going to give him $150 billion more. Oh, Trumpy. Right? Dude, what the fuck, bro?
The sole function of the government is to protect the homeland, right? And I know that there are a lot of people.
See, that right there. This guy is an idiot. The sole purpose of the government is to protect the homeland. Dude, that's so dumb. Bro, it's like the homeland is surrounded by oceans and two allies. One ally that like has a whole bunch of natural resources we need, and another ally to the south that has a whole bunch of other resource we need, labor, that wants to come here and fucking work, bro. So what are you protecting the homeland from? From climate change? All right, I'd be down with that. You want to protect the homeland from climate change? You want to protect the homeland from billionaires or corporations that are like poisoning all of us? All right, let's do that. But protecting the homeland from what? From a sneaker wave? That's right? Right? Oh, we got to protect it from the sneaker wave that's going to crash into the beach on one of the coasts, right? Or, dude, what is he protecting it from? Like the homeland, protecting it from the rapist Donald Trump, maybe, right? Protect the women in the homeland from that sex pred in the White House.
People who are either pacifist or non-interventionist, or people that are just, I guess, nihilistic about government being able to be trusted to do these things. And I understand that. I mean, the amount of damage that George W. Bush, Dick Cheney, Donald Rumsfeld, and their entire crew did to this country, where we can't look at a country like Iran and say there's no way, and the world agrees, there's no way, even Saudi Arabia is like, you can't let them have nukes. And this is the conversation we should have been having in '96 when North Korea finally developed a bomb. Instead, Clinton was allowing China into the World Trade Organization with no caveats at all, as well as bombing Iraq for no reason and getting involved in balkanization for no reason. That had nothing to do with us.
Dude, I don't even think the nuclear fucking shit needs to be a huge problem. Like, there's none of those Middle East countries can send a nuke to America. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way they can get a nuke here. That's just so ridiculous. It is. It's ridiculous.
North Korea has to do with a lot of people. We had a lot of opportunity there, especially since China was begging to get into the WTO. And all we had to do was say, okay, you make sure North Korea doesn't get nukes. That's the standard. If they get them, then you're out of the WTO, period. And that would have been a good deal. But we don't do that. That's American soft power, right? That's what we should be doing instead of using all this military. I agree with you. I think the Pentagon's got to answer for this stuff. And it's very patriotic in a lot of ways to root for the DOD, but I root for the soldier, because that's what I was, right? I root for the guy on the ground not getting sent to do stupid stuff, one, getting taken care of when he comes back home, and then ensuring that we're actually using the right kind of American power to influence the world.
Yeah, so Dan, so let's get to war, right? Trump bombs Iran, and at that point, I was super pissed. And he said anti-war, and you're not anti-war if you start a war. Now, he did then demand a ceasefire and got one from Israel. For the moment being, their defense minister today was threatening to end the ceasefire. So first, give me a sense of how you reacted to both of those events.
Yeah, so I would have done that as well, given what I know about that situation for sure. And I think, it's hard to argue with the results. I don't like to do that necessarily. Start from the outcome and work backwards when you're assessing something, because who knows if they actually knew. Sometimes people get lucky. I don't think Trump got lucky here. Nobody wants a nuclear Iran. Remember from the first administration, the Abraham Accords were a very good idea. He's trying to, for lack of a better phrase, weaponize the economic interest of Middle Eastern countries so that they'll stop participating in this 7th century nonsense and move into modernity. It's very smart. That's what MBS is trying to do as well, and we should try to help these people do that. Now, and if Iran wants to continue doing this stuff, then the global community's got to deal with them in some way. And I'll say this as well.
Dude, there's not at all like the stench of Islamophobia here on this fucking clown, bro. Jesus.
When it comes to the Middle East, ceasefire is always appended with "we'll see," right? I mean, there's no end to that situation until there is one, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I would have done the same thing as him, but I do understand the criticism as well. Is why I said George W. Bush and his cronies, man, the damage they did, where we can't look at a country like Iran and everybody agree, like, no, we can't allow that. Like, let's not do any boots on the ground anywhere, but that can't happen. And people's minds right now can't even conceptualize that because of how much their trust was abused from for the last 25 years, right?
Yeah, that's right. So Dan, let me push back on a couple things. It's not a debate. I kind of want.
Dude, oh my God, it is Blue Chew. Dude, the hat is Blue Chew. Of course it is, dude. Hard AF Viagra. Dude, this guy is I look at this guy. This is weird. Because this guy is whatever, Trump fan, libertarian. But don't you look at him and think bathhouse? Like, this guy is like a bathhouse, bro. Right? You know what I mean? You have no idea what Blue Chew is. Blue Chew is Viagra, right? It's like for the hardest of the hard, right? Homie here is a softie. So he's got everything, dude. Yeah, he is definitely feels like a bathhouse, bro.
Want to see where you're at these days, so it's more informational. But I'm curious, so with the nukes, I mean, Netanyahu's been telling us they're going to have nukes within a couple of months since 1996, right? Load of crap. So they were enriching uranium more. I think they were using that as leverage to get us back into the peace treaty that we had, but they had no bomb. Right, and they were at least, even Netanyahu admitted afterwards, at least a year away from having the bomb to put the uranium in. At least our own intelligence said they actually weren't even developing a bomb. Since 2003, they stopped it, and the Ayatollah did a religious edict saying nuclear weapons are terrible and no one should ever have them. So, if you said to me, Iran is about to have a nuke, or you do this bombing, okay, that's an interesting question. But Iran,
did you see his face right there? Why did his face crinkle up so bad? Watch his face right here. Oh my God.
Just said they actually weren't even developing a bomb. Since 2003, they stopped it, and the Ayatollah did a religious edict saying nuclear weapons are terrible and no one should ever have them.
Did you see that? Look at his face. Oh my God. When confronted with the information of because right, we know Netanyahu, right? You've seen the video where Netanyahu since 1995 has been saying the bomb, right? They're gonna have nuclear bomb in 2 weeks, in 2 weeks, in 2 weeks. And so Janky here says, oh yeah, the Ayatollah did a religious edict that said nuclear weapons are just anti-God. And look at him, bro. This guy is not happy, dude. He is like his face, dude, when he hears that oh, they don't even have the bomb. The Ayatollah's anti-bomb, and this guy is does not compute, bro. He's about to rage out. Dude, it's like the Blue Chew just kicked in. He's gonna start humping the table. He's gonna be oh, the chew.
Nuclear weapons are terrible and no one should ever have them. If you said to me, Iran is about to have a nuke, or you do this bombing, okay, that's an interesting question. But Iran wasn't about to have a nuke. It was largely propaganda. So that's why I wouldn't have done the bombing in the first place. And the other thing is, Dan, then it comes with risks, right? So in this case, it turned out okay for now because it didn't devolve further. But what if Iran sank one of our ships? Oh, then that's it. We're off to a gigantic war just like Iraq.
Yeah, I mean, that's hypothetical, and it's one that I don't really think is necessary, to be honest, because we've got recent memory of how they respond when we do something like this. We sent a switchblade through Soleimani's forehead, and they did nothing, right? And so it was publicized this time that they called ahead to let people know, and U.S. military by proxy, that those rockets were on the way. That happened with the Soleimani thing as well. You can reach into your DoD contacts and find that out. As far as Iran's ability and the timeline on when they would get a bomb, when they've established that they want, when they say it openly, they also say death to America and all this stuff. Certainly, part of it is barking. But
so now you notice? Do you see what he just did there? Do you see this guy's little game? Because he's back to the shell game. Because he said, well, Iran doesn't do anything when we attack them. We put a switchblade in some guy's head and they did nothing. But then he's like, but they say death to America. So, okay. Either Iran is really this country that you just switchblade their leader and they don't do anything, but you're worried about them saying death to America. So which is it? If they're saying death to America and you're really afraid of them, but then you stick a knife in their head and they don't do shit. Obviously, those two messages are counter each other, right? He's bullshitting. He just wants to attack them. Oh, yeah, the reason is death to America. Oh, even if they don't have a nuke, they said something bad about Daddy. Oh, they said I was mean. We're going to kill them all, right? You know what I mean? It's like, but here's the deal, though. Here's the problem, is Iran's not going to do some, like, Trump drops bombs. Iran is not going to just send some bombers to America and try to fight a war that way. They're going to fight a shadow war. Okay, they're going to strike America when she's weak, at a time when there's an opportunity. It may be a year from now. Okay, believe me, they're going to get their due in a very different way. They may just continue to be, a detonation in the Middle East in 100 other ways. It's like, yeah, I just don't like that. They're just bullshitting. They're just looking for an excuse, right? Because at the end of the day, his real problem is with Muslims, okay? Right? And Arabs, right? Anybody who's not, a white bathhouse, blue chew, hard AF kind of bro, right? Drinking beers in the fucking backyard before they all go to the bro bathhouse.
This is what we said about North Korea through the 80s and 90s. We said, they just rabble-rouse from time to time so people will notice them and they can negotiate. And now they've got bombs, right?
Yeah, and nobody cares, bro. They have bombs that they can't send anywhere. Nobody's really worried about that. Nobody's getting a nuclear bomb to America. Like, come on, man. Like, I just think it's so unrealistic.
Right. So, at what point do you interdict that? I think it's a fair debate to have. At what point should we step in and make sure it doesn't happen? We messed it up pretty badly with North Korea. We had a lot of leverage against them, especially since they're basically a China.
Dude, there's a lot of nerve here, don't you think? I'm looking at this ad here. Isn't it a lot of nerve for TYT to be selling Pride merch? Right? They've even got some they don't have a straight trans flag in there, but they have some pseudo a shade of transgender colors, but there's no trans flag in the whole thing. It's just the Pride rainbow. Isn't that weird? What kind of clownery are they going? You think anyone's buying their Pride shit? No way.
Proxy. And so, at what point do you interdict that? I think it's a fair debate to have. At what point should we step in and make sure it doesn't happen? We messed it up pretty badly with North Korea. We had a lot of leverage against them, especially since they're basically a Chinese proxy, and never used any of that. We thought we would negotiate one-on-one with them. Even Trump, to be fair, thought he was going to negotiate one-on-one with that guy, and I don't think that was smart either. I don't think that's something that we can do in the Mideast. But, you don't want to wait until the bomb exists. And I'll say something else. You talk about risk. A lot of people on I guess you could say the anti-war side, although I don't think anybody's actually purely anti-war. People just are anti-wars they disagree with. But let's say that.
Dude, he said he doesn't think anybody is anti-war. They're just anti-war with wars they disagree with. No, there's a lot of us that are just anti-war there, fucknuts, right? I don't care what the war is, bro. I mean, I am anti-war. You know what I'm saying? Now, if I have to fight because, there's civil war, a bunch of shitters like this show up with rifles on my front yard and all of a sudden I have to take the fight, then we're fighting, but I don't like it. Like, that shit is nasty, bro. Dude, I don't like having to protect the homeland with guns. I've been able to protect my homeland without guns.
For the sake of this conversation, one of the comments was that Iran has escalatory dominance in the region. No, they don't. They could certainly do stuff that might provoke us in the region, but we could wipe that country out in a couple of weeks if we wanted to without boots on the ground. We've got the munitions to do that. Not that we would or should. I'm not making a statement that we should, but Iran is going to operate in its own best self-interest. And they're not a rational actor. They're trying to buy time so they can get a bomb, in my opinion. This is the intelligence that I've seen. And you can, talk to Persian people that have escaped.
Dude, the intelligence that he's seen. Dude, this guy, he's been seeing a lot of intelligence, guys, and they're pretty close to a bomb, let me tell you. Dude, Blue Chew came over with the CIA report, right? The Blue Chew rep showed up with that CIA report. They really dug into that
regime, and they probably would agree with you, right? So I tend to listen when people bring up things like, socialism or communism has never been done the right way or whatever, and I hear somebody that's come from one of those countries tell me the evils of it, I tend to listen to the person that has the experience.
Yeah, I think they're a terrible regime, but there's a dichotomy here where we say they can't even, they're so incompetent they can't even strike back. And they kind of have shown that a bunch of times, right? You're right about the Soleimani, they didn't really strike back. Here, they didn't really strike back, et cetera. But we're saying, but at the same time, they're so super sophisticated that they could have a nuclear bomb any second. So I'm way more skeptical. But I do want to go back to one other question that's important because I want to know.
Dude, Cenk, I mean, that was the weakest call out that I've ever seen in my life but he did push back the tiniest bit about the fence sitting, but it was like super weak, right? Like, oh, here, let me just boop. Dude, let me just boop. What do you mean? You're gonna change the tire on my F-350? Let me just tell you. Here, guys, let's go eat some Blue Chew, go like carpet bomb Iran. Oh,
know
shit.
Where your head's at, and a rough sense of where you think MAGA is, for loosely speaking, right? Where's the red line for you, Dan? Is there? So let's say that it had.
Oh, here we go. This is Cenk's imaginary red line, right? Oh, here it comes. Here it comes. The big answer.
Sense of where you think MAGA is, for loosely speaking, right? Where's the red line for you, Dan? Is there? So let's say that it had kept going, right? And Iran blocked the Strait of Hormuz and hit one of our ships and drone strikes on our troops and et cetera. And then we strike back and then, like, is there a point where you go, wait, this is too much war? We said anti-war, and now we're knee deep in it.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't support a boots on the ground situation in that country, no matter what happened, because I know I've done it and it doesn't work. There's no way that.
See, the thing is, though, and this is the problem with Cenk's little fantasy, is this guy says he wouldn't support a boots on the ground war, but he would continue to support Trump while Trump does a boots on the ground war. That's the conundrum here, and we know that that's the truth. Say there was another term. Trump doesn't get another term, but if Trump had another term waiting, Trump could start a boots on the ground war, and this motherfucker would still vote for Trump. He would just vote for Trump while simultaneously disagreeing with the boots on the ground war. And that's the part that Cenk refuses to acknowledge. His sweaty forehead is acknowledging it, and we all know it's true, but he is like, got these blinders on, thinking like, oh, because he said, yeah, no, I won't support a boots on the ground war, But this guy still wouldn't say anything critical of Trump. He would blame it on Congress. He would. He would blame it on Trump's advisors. He would blame it on, the Mexicans or something, the gay people.
A bunch of white faces march into Tehran and change that situation ever. That will, at no point in all of human history will that ever be effective. So it's, a cost benefit analysis. With regard to the Strait of Hormuz, China's never going to allow that to happen. They would lose a lot of money. So it's just not going to happen. But, it's something I like to have the conversation. I like to flush this all out because, people have assumptions about this. Like if you're an anti-war person or you're a neocon or you're this or that, no matter what you are, if you don't actually have the conversation and say, here are the cards on this side and here are the cards on this side, here are the potential moves, strategy, et cetera, then we don't really know any of this stuff, right? People kind of shy away from this debate or they think it's adversarial to have the conversation and go through the paces of this. I don't think so. And people seem to think that this specifically, I think to your point, is dividing MAGA. I guess I'm not really sure what people mean when they say MAGA, to be honest, anymore, just like I'm not sure what people mean when they say Republican or Democrat. Those words are completely meaningless to me now. I think people want the thing that they're a part of to be something, and I'm not always sure that it is. I'm sure actually that it's not usually what it is. I'll settle for this anti-leftist coalition, I guess, or maybe that's not even the right way to put it, but this like anti-woke coalition that voted for Trump or maybe against Kamala, either way. The group that would or is right now probably and should probably fracture along some lines. They don't agree on everything, nor should they, because it's a very diverse coalition, but they agreed on a couple of things like public safety, keep your hands off our kids. We don't want new wars, protracted stuff like that. And I've said this in the past, but this new coalition, it rose to defeat an installed candidate that they felt was undemocratic and unjust. That's my opinion. And the illegal immigration stuff, they rose to defeat that as well. And it had nothing to do with the old right versus left stuff. I don't think it was about that. I mean, you could see from the polling that it wasn't about that. So this new coalition will probably fracture and grow into what...
Dude, what coalition is he talking about? It's like 85% white Christians. Like, dude, this guy is so dumb. Dude, what he is like creating some mythical huge coalition of the incredibly diverse Republican Party that is 85% white Christians that are just bigots, right? And they want to bring back slurs and redlining, right? And being able to like hit women like Dana fucking White, bro.
May become the new left and the new right, or parts of the new left and the new right, whatever it happens to be. We're always going to have those two things. My hope is that the extremists on the right that are popping up now, these people that think that Jews are the source of all the world's problems, these 8 million people, or that women are the worst because they couldn't get a date in high school, so now women have no value. This is not absolute nonsense. Then the grifters who are making money on that, and then the pacifists who I think are so rooted in
the pacifists,
this anti-war stuff that they can't see the need to prevent evil. I hope they all kind of go back to being quiet to some degree.
Did you see what he just did there though? Like, what kind of a dance is he doing, right? Because he said, "Oh, we gotta sort of protect women." To protect the women having value, right? He's like a misogynist sort of approach to women, and like he's not gonna get on the anti-Jewish bandwagon, but like, what's the evil then? The only evil left is like Islam, right? You know what I'm saying? This guy's sort of dancing around this whole idea, but the evil that's centered in Iran. So what is the evil? It must be Islam. He also seems to have a quirk about North Korea, but like the whole, I hate it when people try to couch international politics or something in the word evil. We got to defeat evil. It's like, what the fuck does that mean? There is no such thing as evil. Okay. Like everybody is good and evil, right? We all have those tendencies in us. There's not evil. There's literally like you defend human rights or you don't, or you defend the rights of corporations. Like, what's our battle? Defend human rights, take care of the humans, take care of the planet that feeds us. and provides us with all this renewable energy, right? And you know, all these amazing energy sources. Take care of those three things. Fuck everything else, bro. And then you have a healthy, happy, reasonably happy world. It doesn't feel like it's that fucking hard, right? It's this idea that there's some evil we have to stamp out. No, everybody's literally just trying to fucking survive on a planet that's burning because we're setting fires everywhere, right? And then, you know, we're not helping our neighbors. We're like having them picked up by ICE and fucking, you know, dragged out of the country and sent to foreign prisons. Like, dude, yeah, Islam, pacifists, and women with no value, right? Dude, this guy.
I actually, the one that I would hang on to is the pacifists, because I like that they drag us, or at least make people question the motive of going to war. I think that's a very useful thing. But the rest of these people that are just, I think, bad.
Oh, he just gave the pacifists a fucking get in the party, dude. He gave him an invite. So I guess it's just Islam, women with no value, and probably, you know, he did say stay away from our kids. So, you know, there's a trans thing with this guy. You know it is. You know there's some transgender thing. The trans women probably fuck up his whole Blue Chew identity, right? He can't handle the trans women.
The one that I would hang on to is the pacifists, because I like that they drag us, or at least make people question the motive of going to war. I think that's a very useful thing. But the rest of these people that are just, I think, bad actors, I hope they go away, and I hope that this new coalition splits off at some point, becomes a real right and a real left, and they, you know, the people that went to the extremes maybe kind of come back a little bit and start talking to each other again, because otherwise we don't really have a country anymore. We just have a bunch of people standing around yelling at each other.
Yeah. So super last thing here, Dan.
But dude, what you want, it's never going to happen, bro, because unfortunately that president, Donald Trump, is the extremist. He is the most extreme, in his cronies, you know, Hegseth and fucking Kristi Noem, Stephen Miller, Tom Homan. Like, come on, bro. I mean, he's acting like the Jews will replace us guys from Charlottesville are the extreme in the Republican Party. And it's like, no, those guys are like middle of the road, dude. It's like Donald Trump is the extreme, the guy who gets out there and says your schools are cutting your kids' dicks off. That ain't happening. Tell me that's not extreme, making up a lie like that and reciting it every time you go out in public. Like, come on, bro.
I went on a progressive show that I generally agree with, and we have a conversation just like this. Hey, where's your hat at these days? Where's my hat at these days? It kind of devolved into a debate, but Kyle Kulinski said something that I want to run by you, because I genuinely don't know what you're going to say about this. I mean, you partly answered it there, so you give me a little bit better sense of it, but I think you've said some stuff that's the opposite on your show, but I'm not sure. So let me run you this clip and then get your reaction to it.
The only people who are sincere that I will grant you, Cenk, is libertarians, so Thomas Massey and Dave Smith, because libertarians have a track record, like Ron Paul did, of being very principled, but everybody in MAGA, or 99% of them, will bend the knee, just like 99% of the ones in Congress have already bent the knee.
So, Dan, what's your reaction to that?
I mean, obviously, it's hyperbole, and that's all that guy does is speak in hyperbole, and you can tell from his hair. But
dude, no way, bro. Dude, this guy with this fucking hair, with this fucking like gray comb over, like Brillo pad on his fucking head, just talk shit about Kyle's hair, dude. You can tell he's hyperbole by the hair, but bro, have you looked at your fucking dome, dude? Dude, what is going on, dude? Oh my God, bro. That is some funny ass shit, boss. Oh, Jesus. By the hair. Oh, that's funny.
I do. I think libertarians are sincere. They prioritize individual liberty above all else, and we need that guy around for sure. We need them advocating for the individual. That's what this country is all about. I do think there are a lot of cultists in the MAGA thing, like the people that are out there supporting the big beautiful bill. 12 months ago, they were talking about how omnibus bills are bad. right? No
Yeah.
question. And then you see these smaller fractures that happen. So Iran gets bombed, and Trump makes an offhanded comment about regime change. Now, that was for an audience of one. That was for the Ayatollah, right? To say, don't attack us because we will light you up. And I think, that's how Trump operates. Whether you think that's smart or not is not the question, but that's what happened. And a lot of people, instead of being, adult human beings with brains that function properly and knew that Trump was playing the game there, said, oh yeah, regime change might be an option. Like, what are you, Lindsey Graham? What are you talking about? You know what I mean? So, your principles should not in any way rely on any other person. Dude, otherwise, they're not principles, right?
Dude, this guy kind of seems like Lindsey Graham's got his phone number speed dial, right? You think they go get drinks, him and Lindsey Graham? I could fucking see it.
Yeah. See, that's a interesting, nuanced answer. That's what I expected from you, Dan. I didn't know.
Oh, look at that. That's an interesting, nuanced answer. Interesting, nuanced answer that Kyle is hyperbole. He said, oh, there's a little cultist. The only thing he brought up against MAGA was the big, beautiful bill. And it's not even the substance of the bill. He just doesn't like the fact that it's an omnibus bill, right? He doesn't like the fact that it's big government, right? But what's curious about this is if they pass the big, beautiful bill, this guy is not going to fucking turn on Donald Trump. He's not going to stop backing him. This guy will never vote for a Democratic fucking president. There's no way. There's no way, man.
Which way you were going to go? What I expected nuance. So me, you, and Kyle, all of us agreed libertarians are principled. They have an important role. We might not be libertarians, but we appreciate their role in this spectrum. And you agreed that there is some cultists in MAGA, and they shift along with whatever Trump says. I agree with that. Certainly, Kyle agrees with that. Where you and I split from Kyle is there's also people who are principled, and they have different principles. And they're not necessarily going to go with everything Trump.
Dude, I disagree with that. Okay, and I know what he's saying. He's saying there are people in MAGA that are principled that are not going to go along with everything Trump does. But here's the problem: is Trump is doing harmful shit. Trump is going to get people killed. He's getting people attacked. He's preying on undocumented people right now. There are people who've lived here for 50 years, have kids here, and have paid taxes for 50 years. He's sending them to a country they don't even fucking remember. A country they've never lived in. For what? Just to be a crazy, racist piece of shit. So the thing about it is, you don't get to vote for that harm and say, well, I don't agree with it, but I voted for it. So I'm going to now extract myself from the harm that's Trump causing, because what I really voted for Trump was his anti-establishment nature, and I really voted for his mean tweets, and I really voted for him to to fucking beat up fucking, Lindsey Graham, right? But dude, that's bullshit. If you are a principled person, if you are a good human being, if you are humane, you would never cast a vote for the guy who lies about black immigrants eating their pets. You would never cast a vote for a guy who openly attacks individual transgender people, right? You would never do that. You would never, ever in a million years vote for somebody who does that. You wouldn't vote for somebody that hires masked, armed guys to collect people in parking lots and put them in cars with no license plates and send them to a foreign prison for life when they've committed no crime. If you have any amount of principle, you would not vote for that shit. You would have voted not for Trump, okay? You don't, you know what I mean? You don't have a principle of I like the way Trump handles the economy, so but he's gassing all the progressives, right? So we're just going to forget about the gassing and we're going to focus on what he's doing for the economy. That's bullshit. That is not principle.
Says, but look, we're all going to find out. throughout these next 4 years. And so here you've clearly enunciated some things that you agree with on Trump and things that you disagree with. So.
Oh yeah, he says he agrees with things on Trump. He says he disagrees with things on Trump, but he still would support Trump uniformly. And you saw his face when you told him that the Ayatollah didn't believe in weapons, dude. He almost had a fucking Blue Chew heart attack. Dude, Cenk is like, but man, isn't it crazy? Like, he certainly wasn't this calm when he goes and talks to Kyle. He can't even sit in the same room as Sam.
Listen, brother, I appreciate the conversation.
Listen, brother.
And I appreciate that we have it in a level-headed way where you go, okay, I think this and you think that.
Oh, yeah, we have it in a level-headed way, Cenk, because you've been kissing his ass and because you haven't been yelling at him, right? You had it in a level-headed way because you didn't start the conversation by saying, hey, man, I'm looking at the hard AF cannon there and I'm wondering if you live in the real world. Like, what's your deal, bro? You have a 2-inch penis? Right? You drive an F-350. You got some sort of is it a 2-inch pee-pee complex is why you voted for Trump? If he had started the interview off that way, it would have been less level-headed. Like, come on, bro. Yeah, hands off the kids. This is what he said. You got to keep it hands off the kids, but I'm going to eat a handful of Blue Chew and go down to the playground. Dude. Oh, I'm going to go down. He's going to go down to the local public bathroom and do genital checks after eating 18 Blue Chew, having a few seltzers, a few hard seltzers. Oh, my God. Look at his face, too. He's like, hey, oh, I love you so much, right-winger. You're my favorite libertarian. Jesus. Oh, Lordy.
And everybody gets to hear it out. So
sure.
Thanks for.
If we weren't on TV, I'd probably swear a lot more, but that's just how I talk, you know. I'm doing my best over here.
Yeah, me too, brother. Me too. Believe me. I've been on Drinking Bros podcast, the Citizen podcast.
Ha ha ha. Cenk is always like, ha ha ha. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, Dr. Phil. Oh, yes, YTY. Thank you, Dr. Ha ha ha. Dude. Oh, Lordy.
Podcast, so you should check that out. Where we do curse more. All right. Dan,
dude, let's see. We got like 10 minutes of this other clown, then I got to go make some videos.
Appreciate it, brother.
All right.
Yes, sir. Have a good night, man.
Also see on right-wing podcaster and young Jesse Merle before the election, right-wing podcaster, and we had a debate about whether it should be Trump or not. Want to check back in with him and see how that's going and what he thinks so far. Jesse on Fire is his show. Jesse, welcome back, brother.
What's up, dude? I'm not right-wing, dude. I don't fall into categories. I'm just a person who says things on the internet.
Okay, fair enough. But you voted for Trump, right?
I did vote for Trump, though, yeah. I did.
Yes, okay.
Dude, what is this guy, bro? Dude, look at this. Dude, these guys are definitely going out for a beer after this interview, bro. Oh, Lordy. There's going to be some double talk. Oh, will you join me for double talk? Dude, what the fuck, bro?
Yeah. Dude,
right. What is this Wayne Newton shit that he's wearing? Yeah, look at this outfit, bro. What the fuck, John Cena let himself go to shit? Dude, this guy, I mean, I'm hoping he's gonna say something like, you know, my grandma passed away last week and this was her favorite fucking sweater. So I'm wearing this in honor of my grandma.
Hey, Jesse, first broad, how do you think he's doing so far?
I mean, honestly, for me, at any point, if you ask me how's leadership in the country doing, I would always tell you it's a mixed bag. I would say I feel like 1,000 times more comfortable with the direction of the country than I did 4 years ago. I just think that, like, I mean, you have to ask. I feel like there's so much going on that to answer kind of high level is challenging because it's like, I mean, which part?
Yeah, because Trump just creates chaos, bro. That's the point. You voted for this guy that is going to create so much chaos that like most shit's not gonna get done, and the rest of us are gonna ride a roller coaster of bullshit and lies for like 4 years until nobody even knows what the goddamn truth is anymore, right? We're all going to be so exhausted, right? Like somebody followed us around with tiny ball peen hammers, just slamming our nuts 24/7. You wake up and you're like, God damn, just quit hammering my nuts for like 2 fucking seconds, please, right? Dude, this guy, dude, is like, I think this is The Hobbit, bro. This guy's like The Hobbit, but it's the chaos, bro. The fucking chaos is like, it's just too much.
What are we talking about? We just bombed another country, which I certainly didn't vote for. But, I guess now you kind of look at what's the outcome going to be, still to be determined if that's a good thing, bad thing. The immigration thing, I just heard today that he's talking about taking away birthright citizenship, which I definitely don't agree with.
Dude, so why'd this guy vote for him, bro? Like, taking away birthright citizenship was literally the centerpiece of Trump's entire campaign. Like, why did this guy vote for him? Right? He doesn't like the birthright citizenship thing. Why did you vote for Trump? That's his number one, all immigrants gone, take away birthright citizenship, like encourage white birth, like replacement theory. That's his entire fucking campaign, bro. You know what I mean? And the war, I mean, I know Trump said, oh, no wars, but we all know that Trump was war from the start, dude. He's talked war like his entire fucking time, dude.
But I think overall, in terms of a lot of the things that are happening, I agree with. But I would say those are the 2 things that I would say I am challenged with in the recently.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense, and it is nuanced. There's things that I've agreed with on Trump, like for example, when he told Israel, "Bring the jets back, do not keep bombing Iran." I was like, okay, good, thank God. And so far, the ceasefire has held. Cross your fingers. But okay, let's talk about war. So that you mentioned that, I was definitely against him bombing Iran. Were you against it before he did it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and then he did something I didn't expect, which is that he pulled back, and so we'll see if that holds. But what do you think of the pullback?
So I thought that's kind of my experience, kind of watching him operate in the last, since he's been president. At least when it comes to international affairs, has been interesting because it's like I've recognized that he does have a plan in a lot of cases, and in order for him,
Trump does not have a plan, right? 100% no. I mean, it's the tweet from Philip Kowski that I tweeted earlier today, right? Where is it? It's this tweet. You're going to see it. Philip Kowski said it perfectly right here. Contrary to popular opinion, not every insane, corrupt, maniacal thing they do is calculated to distract us from a thing you think is more important. They aren't usually playing 4D chess here. The majority of time, it's just because they're insane, they're corrupt, and they're maniacal. They don't have a plan. Trump wakes up and he's like, today I'm jacking up the tariffs. Tomorrow he wakes up and he's like, we're going to invade Canada. The next day he wakes up and he's like, I'm starting to like Canada. Now Iran is the enemy. The next day he wakes up and he's like, oh, fucking Israel's making me mad. Right? I mean, there is no fucking plan. There's not even close to a fucking plan, bro.
For him to be able to execute on the strategy that he's trying to, put in motion, him and his inner circle need to be the only people that kind of know what's going on. I thought with the tariffs, I thought he'd lost his mind. And then, it turned out that what ended up happening is he got us these much better deals on our trade deals with a bunch of countries. And then
with a bunch of countries? No, dude, they said 90 deals in 90 days. Today is day 76. And what are their trade deals with a bunch of countries? With the UK? The trade deal with the UK, that's like going to a 7-Eleven and buying a fucking bag of Fritos, bro. That's nothing in our trade, okay? They haven't finalized a decent trade deal really with anybody yet. They have the UK Who else do they have? Right? Like, dude, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is he talking about, bro? Dude, yeah, the China, $88 billion in tariffs. You know what I'm saying? $88 billion in tariffs. Paid by who? By us, by American businesses. Great, nice. A whole bunch of small businesses are taxed to the fucking hill.
In this case, you know, when he bombed Iran, that seemed incredibly reckless. But then when the outcome ends up being a ceasefire and potentially Iran absent their ability to enrich uranium, I'm like, I mean, if this thing holds, he obviously knows what he was doing better than I did. I mean, I still think dropping bombs on any foreign country, especially one with a really strong military like Iran, at least, strong for the region. I mean, you have to make some really, really like ballsy calculations on what their responses are going to be. And I mean, at least thus far, it seems to be working out. If the ceasefire holds and they end up.
Yeah, no, I agree what Canal said there in chat that, Kyle's, I mean, to a degree, Kyle was like, most of MAGA wants war, which I think is accurate. I think most of MAGA actually does want war. But I think Kyle's real point was even the MAGA that don't want war, they would vote for Trump anyway, even if Trump goes to war. The war will not be a let go of Trump scenario, ever. There's no chance of it. They will never let go of Trump. Okay, this guy hates Trump's signature fucking programs, yet he voted for Trump and is like, would vote for him again. Okay, even though the number one thing Trump did, the birthright citizenship, he's like, I don't like that. And like, really? So you voted for the guy who made his whole goddamn campaign about that. And you're right too, Canal, about the fact that Kyle did make an overarching point that why are you going to all these right-wingers trying to pick off a few MAGA when you have an ocean of leftists and liberals and far left that you can all coalesce. And we agree on like 75% of the policies, right? Like none of us are going to want to bomb fucking enemy countries. Most of them don't want to fund Israel, right? We all want to protect civil rights. You know what I'm saying? We all want more investment in education and not cutting Medicaid and shit. So why aren't you communing with all those people that you agree with? Instead, you're talking to some fucking John Cena ripoff wearing like Wayne Newton's fucking sweater from a bad magic show in Vegas in like 1972, bro. Being like, oh, but do you support the war? I mean, he really just wants to be like, oh, you don't support war. So then he can go back on TYT and say, well, everybody, Kyle was wrong because we found another MAGA who said they don't support war.
In a better spot without enrichment capabilities, it's probably going to end up being a good thing. It's just to be determined, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. So look, I wouldn't have done the strikes under any circumstance because it involves risk and like not insignificant risk. Because what if they bomb one of our ships? Oh my God, what if they're successful and they sink a ship? Oh, then it's over. We're going to go full bore into Iran and it's going to be an epic disaster, right?
I mean, tell me that's not right. I mean, right? I'm not the only person seeing that, am I? I know other people mentioned it, but like, dude, tell me that's not discount John Cena, bro. Dude, I mean, he's got a little spikier hair. There it is. Look at that. Oh, shit. There it is, dude. Discount John Cena is in the house, dude. Dude, John Cena, like, without the good looks, bro. If John Cena had, like, one less good-looking gene, right? If John Cena's mom had had sex with Johnny Cash's mechanic, this was going to be the end result. Dollar store Cena. Oh, shit, that's what it is, dude. Oh, my God, dude. Oh, shit. Dude. Oh shit, dude. That's funny. That shit is dude, they do have the exact they have the same nose, bro. The exact same fucking nose, boss.
So I had those concerns. Apparently, you had those concerns. So let me ask you what your red line is, Jesse. So far, if it turns out this is all that happened, and he gets this ceasefire, and Iran and Israel don't ever hit each other again, Gaza's a whole nother thing, right? But if he stopped that, I get it. I get people saying, hey, maybe it worked. Maybe, destroy their facilities. They didn't really hit us back. And Iran and Israel are not in a war anymore. Okay, if, great. But if it doesn't go that way, do you have a red line? Is it boots on the ground? What else would happen where you go, oh, no, this is not the anti-war thing that I signed up for?
Oh, that would be a big problem if we started deploying troops. But I don't think he's going to do that. But yeah, I mean, certainly if we started deploying troops in the Middle East, I'm not one of these guys that is going to make my opinions based on which politician is telling me what we're doing. I definitely do not think we should have troops on the ground in a new war in the Middle East. That would be a big problem for me. But
dude, I agree. This sweater right here is the red line, bro. Although I'm gonna go and say this: anybody who would wear this sweater doesn't have a red line. Okay, let's be honest. Anyone who wears this sweater publicly on a live broadcast does not have a red line. Okay? There is no red line to be had by this guy, dude.
Unless he did that, it's just kind of all hypotheticals. I just don't think he would do that. But yeah, that would be certainly. I wouldn't even say that there's necessarily a red line that exists, because I wouldn't have supported him bombing them in the first place. But apparently, he knew what he was doing. Did you see, by the way, the video of those bunker busters that went straight down that ventilation pipe? I saw that yesterday and I was like, at least at some point we could just everybody said.
Dude, this guy is just mesmerized by the destructive power of bombs. I don't know, man. That shit just doesn't impress me. It like breaks my heart to see that shit.
Everything aside and just marvel at what humans are capable of in terms of.
Yeah, imagine, let's just marvel at like how humans will drive by the homeless every day and they can't fix that, or they won't do anything to that. When a homeless guy walks by their car with like 3 fingers, they just put their head down and drive away. But they'll make a bomb that can go down a ventilation shaft and just cause carnage. A bomb that will just shred fucking human beings. Like, is it just me to find that sickening that we as human beings, there are human beings like this fucking guy who his nuts swell up and he gets so filled with just awe at like the sheer destructive power of these bombs. But like, then they go and they drive over a protester with their car, right? Because, you don't want to protest the killing of a black man by a police officer. But man, when that bomb goes down the ventilation chute, it's like the Death Star. Oh, it was like watching Star Wars again in real life. Oh, right? What a fucking weirdo, bro.
Technological advancement. It's unfortunate that we focus all that energy on just, technology that destroys things as opposed to others, but like pretty unbelievable.
Pretty unbelievable. Oh, it was a test video? Dude, that's funny. Was it a test video? Do we have a link to the video that he's talking about? Hold on, let's see if we can see this video. Oh, there it is. Dude, that's what I'm talking about. The Death Star. Oh, shit. Dude, it's totally the Death Star. Top Gun. Dude, this is what I'm talking about, bro. That's exactly what that shit is. Yeah, I don't even know what he's talking about. I've not seen the video, whatever video he's talking about. The video, I don't know what the video is. I'm not seeing it come up.
But
yeah, the only thing that bothers me about that is, look, it's an incredible feat. They flew.
Does TMZ have the video? All right, let's see. Oh, here it is. Oh, it is. Total annihilation of target in test video. There it is, guys. This guy is talking about a fucking test video, bro. The video he watched wasn't even a real video. It's a test video, right? Dude. See, what a clown world, right? He's watching some test video about the bunker bomb and he's like, oh, it's so impressive, right? Test footage. Oh,
36 hours straight. They refueled a couple of times, and then they drop it right down the shaft if that video's right. And so that's all amazing. I just don't like politicians taking credit for it. If it turns out that, hey, you destroy their uranium facility and they never go to war, okay, you could take credit for that. But like, you didn't fly the plane, brother. Same thing with Obama when they killed bin Laden. I was like, oh, what a courageous act. I'm like, really? Wouldn't it be pretty, wouldn't every president say, yeah, go kill bin Laden? Is there a president that would have said, no, don't kill bin Laden?
So in that case, actually, I think Obama had to make a really ballsy call, and only because that particular situation, I just have gotten sucked into a million rabbit holes of reading about, the things that led up to it, and it's,
dude, he hasn't mentioned Biden yet, though, which is impressive. He hasn't said, so do you think Biden is old or what? But here we go. This guy's actually about to give Obama some credit.
But I mean, they just, the level of intelligence that they had, that it was going to be Osama bin Laden, was not even remotely close to what Obama would have felt comfortable acting on normally. And where the raid was so close to one of the main, it was almost like, I guess in America it'd be like, oh God, what's it? It's basically like a military academy. It was right there. And, they have nukes, dude. Pakistan, we can't mess around with Pakistan. And so it was a really ballsy call. I mean, I guess you could kind of say the same thing about Trump, doing these Iran strikes.
Dude, no, it's not a ballsy call with the Iran strikes. They attacked an empty facility after Iran had moved the uranium, dude. They didn't even fucking destroy the shit. Dude, and he's like, oh, we're going to mull it over for 2 weeks. And then he dropped the bombs the next day. Oh, sneaky Trumpy. Nobody saw that coming.
With the Obama one, it's like we have the benefit of hindsight. He was there. We didn't do some reckless attack on some random house in Pakistan that did not have Osama. And, so we can I think I can just praise Obama as having made a really great call.
Yeah, what's funny with you? Doesn't it look like, I think he's in a hotel. Right? Doesn't it look like he's in a hotel, or is this his actual house? I mean, maybe it is his house. It looks like he's in a fucking hotel. But I bet, I don't know, maybe it is his house. The whole time I thought he was in a hotel. So I'm like, look at this like weird lamp, and there's nothing on the fucking shelf, and the curtains are totally like those hotel curtains that cover up like the whole wall. Oh my God.
In this case, we still don't know,
Yeah, and they didn't have a nuclear weapon in Iran. So that was another reason not to do it. But So they were enriching uranium. This long story, but you were against it. I was against it. Got it. So I want to ask you a little bit more about Trump in a second. But I'm going to play you a clip here from. So I went on a
oh, dude, he's going to play him Kyle Kowinski's
show, and
here he goes.
We're going to have a conversation like this. Hey, where are you at? Where am I at? And kind of a debate broke out. Right. I'm not doing this like as a.
Dude, he's like, oh, a debate broke out. Dude, Cenk, when you went and talked to Kyle and Crystal, your very first statement at the very beginning of the show, right, was, I don't even know what planet you guys are on or whatever. Remember? He's like, oh, yeah, I just got to see if you guys are even living in reality. Like, gee, I wonder why you had a fight, Janky. I wonder why you had a debate. He is Jeremy. He is so like trying so hard to like, here, I'm going to show you this Kyle Kowinski clip. Please tell me that I'm right. Please tell me I was right and that Kyle was wrong. Please tell me that guy's bad and that I'm good.
Or anything, because I don't know what you're going to say about it. So Kyle Kowinski is an old ally. We agree on a great number of policy issues. I think almost all the policy issues. But he has a certain view, and a lot of people on the left do, of MAGA. And you're an interesting cat because you're saying you're not even a right-wing podcaster, right? And you just make it, but you did vote for Trump. So I just want to run the clip and then get your view of how the right wing sees it, because Kyle and I are not in the right wing, right? We didn't vote for Trump. So I'm curious what you make of this. Let's actually play the second clip of the hosts and the voters. Let's watch that.
You're saying it's all fake, and you think that all these right-wing hosts are not actually anti-war, that this is, but they've been telling their audience now for months that
Cenk,
that the war is a terrible. Let me ask the question, and that the war is a terrible, terrible, terrible idea. But how would that strategy work? So they get their audience totally against the war, then they capitulate to Trump.
Then they would make up an excuse. Oh, but we discovered there was a bomb. Oh, we discovered a network of secret uranium enrichment.
Tell you how that strategy works.
How did that help them be pro-war?
Let me explain. Let me explain how
My
that
answer
strategy
to your question
works.
is yes, by the way. In 99% of cases, they are just lying and they'll go and suck Trump off again.
So
That's a real disagreement.
They postured as anti-war because they thought it was a good electoral strategy. So now they have some track record laid of claiming that Trump is the pro-peace candidate, blah, blah, blah.
And why was it a good strategy? Because their voters are anti-war.
No, why was it a good strategy? Because people like you, Cenk Uygur, and them painted Kamala Harris and the Cheneys as the warmongers. So you're like, oh my God, Kamala Harris is hanging out with Liz Cheney. That's Dick Cheney's daughter. There's going to be war. So Trump was like, oh, I'm the guy who's not war. And the Democrats are war. And let's forget about the wars in the last 70 years that were all these Republicans fucking threw the whole kitchen sink into. Like, goddamn, bro, it wasn't about their voters. Their voters voted for Trump because they want to put trans people and immigrants in jail. They want to say the goddamn N-word, right? They don't give a fuck about the war. They're just anti-war because Trump was saying he's anti-war because Kamala was war. And then the minute they change, right, they will fucking go get right behind Trump and say the same goddamn thing. And yeah, dude, it's good call. He does. He talks right over him. He's like mutes their points. He contradicts their shit in the middle of their answer. And the other guy, he's like, oh, please be nice to me. Oh, do you like this? Oh, can I be gentle?
Okay, we'll come back to that. Okay, the polling is wildly at odds with you, Cenk, on that.
Okay, again, I'm not trying to pick fights here or anything like that. It's Kyle Kowinski and Crystal Ball. And again,
he's like, again, I need your validation here, please. Okay, buddy?
I agree with them on policy, an overwhelming amount. But I'm curious your take on that. So there's the hosts, and Kyle says, no, 99% of them aren't really anti-war. And then there's the voters, and that's where Crystal said, no, they don't really, they're not going to disagree with Trump. So what's your sense?
What? Okay, so It's so funny that you picked those two because I spend a fair amount of time. I mean, if someone wanted to look at my channel and be like, well, what evidence is there that this guy's hardcore MAGA? They're all, well, he certainly shits on Kyle Kulinski sometimes. Sorry, I was not supposed to swear. That's my fault, you guys.
That's okay. It's okay.
But I mean, Kyle Kulinski on X looks like a psycho. Like he looks like an unhinged person who is totally incapable of looking at things through any kind of lens that is not. I mean, everyone's lying. So
dude, people say that shit about me on Twitter too. I get pretty raw on Twitter. I'm not gonna lie, dude.
Everyone who says, I don't want to bomb children in the Middle East, or I don't want us spending our tax dollars to kill people in the Middle East.
Bullshit, dude. Trump was like posting videos of Trump Gaza. How do you think Trump Gaza is going to happen there, fuck nuts? They're going to kill all the rest of the children in the Middle East. You goddamn idiot. You fucking Wayne Newton, Liberace, sweater-wearing motherfucker.
Hey, all of us, it's a big phony joke because exactly the point you made. It's like, what's the strategy there, guy? Like, what possible reason would there be? And it's like, there is a level of like mind twist that people can get to where they genuinely just will apply malice to everything.
Dude, you know what? I will say one thing, Jesse on Fire. I do have to hand you one thing. You said the word twist, and I will say that you are right. There is a level of mental twist where people will say, hear a presidential candidate talk about schools, grade schools, sex changing their children. And they sent their kids to school for years, and no kid has ever gotten a sex change at school. And they'll hear a president insist that this is happening, and they'll get so mentally twisted that they'll vote for that crazy motherfucker anyway. Like their crazy uncle who's been up for 18 days on Adderall, so he's convinced that the neighbor is cutting off children's dicks. And they're like, yeah, we're going to vote for that guy to be our president. Now that is some mental twist.
When there is a group over here in this, like, I don't even know how to even put myself in there because it's the exact opposite of how I think. You know, it's like the best example of that is always in the abortion issue, in my opinion. It's like you have this side over here who is anti-abortion, and they genuinely believe that they are trying to save the lives of babies. And they look at this group over here and they're like, they want to murder babies because whatever. And then this over here, they're like, they want to control my body. It's like, dude, this one doesn't want to get forced into having a child when she's 17 years old, when she has plans to get her master's degree and go do a bunch of stuff. Like, why are you going to force her to have the kid? And you guys, you think you want to control your body? They don't want dead babies. Like, so that's what I'm saying is like, if you're like too blinded to be.
But they do want dead babies because they fund Israel. So like they don't care about dead babies. And when the babies are starving after they're born and they die, they don't fucking care about them. And the maternal mortality rate in the South, they don't care about that shit. So like, no, Jesse, you're lying because you're not pointing out the fact that the people who are saying they don't want dead babies are fucking lying because they don't give a goddamn shit about babies. They give a goddamn shit about like they think they're carrying out the Bible and you must live under their goddamn Bible. Like, what the fuck is this guy talking about, bro? This shit is just pissing me off now because he's like, missing the thing. They don't care about babies. If they cared about babies, they'd take care of the live ones, okay? And for the record, until that fucking thing is out of the mom and like surviving on its own, it ain't a goddamn baby. It is an extension, a part of the mother. Like, come on, man. Dude, that is the most disingenuous, right? He's like, it's like the same sane-washing they do for Trump, bro. It is. It's like, oh, yeah, no, he's really just making a good point, right? Dude, yeah, bullshit.
Be able to see the opposing sides, like a human. It's like Kyle Kulinski and Crystal Ball are like the most furthest example of that I could possibly imagine. Like, what are they talking about?
Dude, they're not even the furthest left people, dude. This guy's never looked at like European politicians. Dude, what is he talking about, dude?
Why would anyone lie about being anti-war?
Why would anyone lie about being anti-war? So the thing about this is that for the same reason they would lie about, believing that they don't have any money because of, undocumented workers, or the same reason they would lie about sex change operations happening at schools, or the same reason they would lie about saying they really care about kids and then blocking free school lunches or free health care for those children. I mean, why would they lie? Because they're lying to gain power, okay? Because they're saying they're anti-war because that is the thing that they're going with in order to win that election. But can you honestly say that people are anti-war when they see a black man die an unarmed black man dies with a white policeman laying his knee on their neck, and they're like not fucking raging about that? That doesn't make them ragingly angry. Like, come on, bro. You know what I mean? Like they're okay with masked marauders like busting into schools and churches and Home Depots to stuff people into license plateless cars and ship them to foreign prisons, but they're anti-war? Like, bro, come on, boss. That's like us saying you're wearing this sweater and you're super fashionable. It's like, nah, it's one or the other, bro.
That's so interesting because I wouldn't have picked them as the most out there. I think there's a lot of people that are further out than Crystal and Kyle in terms of hating MAGA and not believing them and stuff. And I didn't know that you thought that about Kyle, but that's interesting because I mean Kyle and I both agree he shouldn't have dropped a bomb, and apparently you agree that he shouldn't have dropped a bomb. Kyle and I and Crystal and I.
The question wasn't about even with the war thing. It was like, would they still support Trump afterwards?
I probably agree, like I said, on, 95% of issues. So, but you don't.
Yeah, dude, this guy is clearly only on this show so he can fucking get enough money to go score some more drugs, right? It's like paid sponsorship, bro. So this guy can go fucking... He's going to go to the methadone clinic with a fat sack of fucking cash after this. Oh, shit.
Don't view me and him in the same way. So I didn't expect that. So that's interesting. So since Kyle and I have very similar policy stances, why don't you view us the same way?
Oh, I can give you that immediately. Okay, so it's because I can tell when people have slipped into this is some kind of us versus them game, and then they're incapable of looking at things objectively. So like, as an example, when this guy in Minnesota went and shot those lawmakers, right? The whatever guy.
Yeah, and a crazy MAGA motherfucker.
This big dispute. It's all, is this guy a MAGA terrorist or is he a Democrat?
He's a MAGA terrorist.
It's like, he's neither, he's a crazy person, okay? Like, it doesn't matter what his politics are.
Oh, I see. Oh, now he's like, his politics have nothing to do with that, right? Oh, okay. Yeah, that was interesting.
If you go and look at Kyle Kulinski's X account throughout that thing, he was like, he had to be right that this guy was a MAGA guy, even when.
Dude, he is MAGA. I mean, it's obvious he's fucking MAGA, bro. Right? He is. Dude, it's obvious he was fucking MAGA. Bro, come on, bro.
It turned out that this guy had been appointed to a 4-year work development force
by the predecessor to Tim Walz, and then he got reappointed to a bipartisan commission in Tim Walz, in the purple state that Tim Walz governs. So yeah, like Tim Walz in his purple state appoints Republicans and Democrats to bipartisan commissions. Oh yeah, that's a real mental gymnastics to figure that out, homie. Dude, we need to wrap up this interview so he can get to the methadone clinic. Why aren't your comments showing up? I don't know, dude. Maybe YouTube is moderating your shit. I see this comment.
By Tim Walz personally, and that his wife worked for Tim Walz. It's like, And to be clear, I'm not trying to make you take credit for him. I'm saying he's a crazy person, but he's definitely not MAGA. And then just go look like he actually.
Dude, his roommate and best friend since 4th grade said he was a very anti-abortion Trump supporter who listened to InfoWars. Like, dude, it doesn't get any more MAGA than that, homie.
Put a post up after that information came out, trying to convince his user that still, even though that was out there, don't let these MAGA people confuse you. He is a MAGA right-wing lunatic. And you're like, that's embarrassing, guy. Like, that you want to die on that hill, dude?
So that's really interesting because I agree with both of you guys. I agree with Kyle that he's far more likely to be MAGA. But I agree with you that it doesn't really matter. They're all nuts. Like Muslim fundamentalists, the Jewish fundamentalists who killed Yitzhak Rabin.
Yeah, the rapist who like makes up lies every time he opens his mouth, right? These extremists.
They're all crazy.
They're crazy people.
Yeah, they're not mentally well. No one who's mentally well goes and kills other people and goes to jail for the rest of their lives. It does, right? And the mass shooters, they don't have any political ideology, except the mass shooters who do and leave behind a treatise. So one of us about insurance, that wasn't a mass shooter, but a CEO shooter. And then you got the ones about race, etc. Anyway, all right, last thing here, Jesse. Give me one or two things, if you have them, outside of war, where you've thought, I wish Trump hadn't done that.
Oh, I mean, I would say the application of the kind of crackdown on immigration, that's a big one for me. Like, I mean, so.
Dude, the application of the crackdown on immigration, this guy is such a bullshit artist, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro. This guy is such a fucking liar, dude. Like, what did you think the goddamn immigration shit was gonna look like? Right? See, this guy is bullshitting, dude. He's grifting. He's playing some fucking con because he's saying the immigration crackdown is now really rubbing him the wrong way. But the entire campaign was Trump doing Hitler speak. They're all rapists. They're vermin. They're poisoning the blood of the country. All the people out there are holding mass deportation signs. Mass deportation now. And rabid rooms full of white people. Right? You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, what is, like, you know he's just a liar. Dude, he's a liar. These guys, this is what Kyle said. Yes, they're all liars, Cenk Uygur. Kyle was right. They are all liars because we've just shredded them, right? Oh yeah, his signature thing where 1,000 people were waving mass deportation signs. And now I'm really upset at the way they're like trying to mass deport people. Dude, come on, man. It's a clown world, bro. You're impressed? 3 hours? Oh shit, I used to do like 12-hour streams, right? If I didn't have to go edit videos, I would probably stream for like 8 hours, right? You know what I mean? Because I do enjoy streaming, but unfortunately, I'll be up. I have to make 2 videos tonight. So I'll be up until, when we're done with this, I will be editing probably till about 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. And then I'll go to bed at 9 a.m. and I'll get up at like 2 in the afternoon, right? But yeah, dude, this is some clownery. Yeah, I'll be streaming every night, guys, right? Yeah, I mean, my God, when I was gaming, I used to do a 24-hour stream every month, and I would stream like 12 hours a day. Dude, I did that for years.
Just since we talked about this earlier, the birthright citizenship, like,
here it comes.
The issues that I tend to have a strong opinion on are ones that I have looked at personally in my own life and been like, that's wrong. If this is going to be the way that what you're proposing is applied to this family right here that I know very well, I know their situation, that's wrong. I mean, it's just bottom line. And like the birthright citizenship thing. So because I do, I'm heavy in jiu-jitsu. And so I know a lot of Brazilians who are here on, work visas, green cards, or have gained citizenship. So I know more about that actual process than a lot of people, which probably kind of helps shape my opinion on the entire thing. But if you're telling me that a person who has done the paperwork is here legally on visas or on a green card, they have a job, they pay their taxes, they have a child, that child should not be a citizen of the United States? That makes no sense to me at all. It's like, well, what are they, where should they be a citizen? Like, they're like a person that just doesn't get citizenship? Like, that doesn't make sense. My whole thing is like,
dude, and yet this guy voted for Trump. Like, what a dink, bro.
On the flip side of the immigration thing, I also am looking at people who are doing immigration correctly. They file their paperwork. They know they have until this date to be here. Then they have to update it. They have to go do it, and they're doing all of those things. And so I don't understand the argument against that. It's like, if people,
yeah, well, here's the argument against it. They're fucknuts. Mass deportation. They want everybody who is brown out of the country. You notice there's no brown people holding these fucking signs, bro. Like, dude, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's like either they're disingenuous, you know what I'm saying? Either they're like, they're lying or they're stupid, right? This guy is just basically the cornerstone of Trump's campaign. Is something this guy doesn't like, but he voted for Trump. So then you got to ask, why did you vote for Trump, right?
People are not, I mean, we have rules. If you want to change the rules, change the rules. But the rules state you have to do this, this, and this. And if they're not doing that, they snuck in, they're not doing that, whatever. Like, the idea that it's inhumane for us to, enforce laws that are already there doesn't make a lot of sense to me. That said, there's also a matter of allocation of resources and optics and just like, how does it make me feel? And when we're going after gang members, people with criminal records, people who might be terrorists who came over when they weren't vetting anybody.
Dude, there's hardly any criminals. That's why they're going to Home Depot, bro, because there's no fucking criminal undocumented people. A tiny amount, right? That's why they're taking grandmas who've lived here for 50 fucking years, bro.
It's like, dude, release the hounds on those guys and drag them out by their hair. Like, I don't care about that at all. But I don't, when I started seeing videos of them going in, into like, I don't know, places where, bottom line, if someone's here and they're working and they've been working for years and, you raid those places, to me, here's exactly what I would do. Is instead of raiding and then deporting, I would send people there, and the first meeting would be to educate them on how they get up to date on their paperwork. And then you give them 2 weeks, 3 weeks, however long it is. And if they're not up to date on their paperwork, when you come back, then you deport them. Like, educate them, teach them how they're supposed to do this legally.
Dude, there's no judges. There's no system. It costs too much money. It takes fucking 20 years. It used to be 5 years, guys, right? It used to be you come to America, right? And then you come here and you're allowed to work. You're allowed to be in the country. And after 2 years, you file a notice of wanting to be a citizen. And after 5 years, you're a fucking citizen. That's what it used to be. But you used to be able to just come here and work. You could come, you could work. 2 years later, you file a paper. 5 years later, you're a citizen. Then they started adding civics tests. And then they started like making it more and more complicated. Now, granted, the numbers that were coming in were like, maybe you can't take everyone. I don't know that for sure. But like the idea though that like, they could have passed that bipartisan bill and done this, but Trump didn't want to do this. He doesn't want to pass laws. They don't want these people to be citizens. They want to watch them violently get thrown out of the country. Okay, that's just it. This guy is fucking bullshit. Anyway, that being said, though, I went about an hour over, but dude, it was our first stream together, and you guys were fun, and I know we got a lot of content out of this, so I'm going to be able to make a bunch of videos. But guys, it's time for edit mode. This is how we end the streams. Okay, normally I would play some rockin' music, but YouTube would copy strike me. So we do switch into edit mode so you get to see what the room looks like. When I will be up all night editing, I will play a little tune from Epidemic Sound. All right, we'll fucking see what we got here. We'll pull something out. All right, let's see. Let's pick something. I don't know what this is going to sound like, but let's fucking whatever. We'll grab a sound. All right, I can do that. Yeah, I'm down with that. It works for me. Let's go. We'll go out with a little dance, baby. I'm gonna work on getting some of my music involved in here too, because I used to tour the country as a one-man indie rock band. And so but my music, the copyright is owned by a company that would copy strike me. So I have to figure that out. But I think actually we can go out on one of my tunes. Let me see, I think I have a tune that won't get copy struck. So we can actually go out on one of mine. All right. Let's go. Hold on. We're going to fucking go. We're going to go out on one of mine, dude. Which one should I play, dude? I'll play something pretty chill. Okay. But this one is a song called, this was from my first EP. So, dude, Ball Bad, let's go, baby. So I made a record called Let Go Afterglow. Here, I'm going to put a link to this shit. All right. Here we go. If you want to check out the tunes, give me 1 sec here. All right. We're going to go out with one of my early EPs, but the band was called The Wanteds. All right. One-man indie rock band. So I have 2 albums on Apple Music and Spotify and whatnot. But before I made Let Go Afterglow, that was my first solo record. 2004 it came out. I toured the country for like a year and a half until my son was born. But this song that I'm going to play was before that, before Let Go Afterglow. I had an EP that was like my first, it was like the first EP, my first sort of solo endeavor. All right, let me find it. And this is a song called Hide and Seek. I will see you guys tomorrow. All right, the stream will be scheduled to be starting around 9 or 10. And love you guys. We're going to fucking check out a little song. This is a tune called 1, 2, 3. It's good shit, actually. Inside of me, bright eyes, hypnotized, never telling lies, socialite, half-life. Check yourself, do it right, you will be fine. 4, 5, 6, no stones or sticks. Somehow they all got fixed. You're so in demand, you're my vitamins pretending high. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Please make them disappear. Good night. Whatever happens, promise me you won't leave me here.
7, 8, 9, no, not alright. TV, catch me, crushes, waste time, out of sight and out of mind. Just need another rhyme, I'm too numb to cry. 8, 9, 10, it's happening again. I'm moving out and moving on, I'll throw away and hold it in. You're lonely, never ever only, nothing feels right. Abracadabra, 1, 2, 3, please make them disappear. And whatever happens, promise me you won't leave me here. Leave me here. And I wonder, will this be permanent underneath your spell again? How come you're emotionless? I just am.